The views and events expressed here are totally whacked and are not necessarily the views of anyone.
Choose your destiny.
Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así.
Thank you, God, for this day. We have lived everything in our life, our health, our family, the guidance you have given us, allow us guidance to the path of righteousness. Amen.
Really, I'ma get that bitch. Revenge is a dish best served cold. She took my son, now my soul is cold. He took my daddy, now my soul is old. Yeah. Woke up.
Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub?
King Chaka ENT. Y'all can check out the music on Spotify, Apple, and other services. Doing what we do 3 to 4 nights a week. King Chaka ENT. From the
She
back
starts
seat.
shooting.
That dude was like, ow.
What was that?
Outside the car,
That nigga
deputies'
got
body
popped.
cameras capturing the bullets flying through the air.
We got shots fired
couldn't
up
have been
here.
a straight
We need
shot. It had
backup
to be-
immediately. Start
Are you-
EMS. Start EMS.
What
We got a
the fuck?
civilian. We got a civilian hit.
The deputy.
Looks like we got us another hit.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, an educated public cannot be controlled. Learn to be active. The views and events expressed here are totally whacked and are not necessarily the views of anyone. So, what about the next generation? What about the next generation? What about them? Do we think about them when we make our decisions or whatever? Things that we do? When I say we, I mean as a society, you know. I think any logical person is automatically, if they have children, they're already thinking about their kids and maybe even their grandkids or whatever. But I wonder collectively, do we think about the children, the next generation? We had a whole long debate. Was that last night's show? Where we were talking about school choice, and we had a whole debate about it. And it seems like it's hopeless, right? I don't know. When we actually talk it out, it seems hopeless. A lot of the younger generation, they feel like they don't even want to have children. And I don't blame them for feeling that way, because it's like, what kind of world are we bringing them into, you know? The main thing that's going down my timeline is the recent death caused by the police beating that happened. And there's riots happening in New York and in Atlanta and other places. I wonder, the people that have like, they have a problem with the people rioting or whatever. Not that I condone it. What I'm saying is, what do you think is the answer? Are you okay with the idea that your children are going to be going through the same stuff, and your children's children are going to be going through the same stuff, like working a job that is basically pointless, that's passionless, that you just do just to make a living so that you can pay your bills and get through the day, get through the week, get through the month, get through the year, and year after year you go to this job that you would rather be doing something else, but it pays well, so you just do it. It's a logical decision to make. I'm not judging anyone for making those kinds of decisions, but what I'm saying is, what about the next generation? you know I think that there's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of mental illness, there's a lot of you know frustration in us as the adults or whatever, the people that's supposed to be running the show, the people that are making the decisions. We're mad frustrated with our situations. A lot of us, a huge amount of us are. So, and what are we doing to make things better for our children? Maybe it's too late for us. Maybe it is. Maybe we're stuck in our cycle, and there's really not much hope for us. But their lives are still coming in. Their lives, they're still growing. They still have opportunities. I feel like I still have opportunities. I really do. As long as I stay alive, and I just keep striving, and I just keep pushing into a certain direction. But I think that even more than my own personal opportunities, I think what's more important to think about as a society is the opportunities for the next generation and the generation after that. What are they going to face? Are they going to face totalitarianism? Are they going to face mass surveillance? Credit, social credit scores? Are they going to face, police brutality? Are they going to face, red tape and administrations? Are they going to face not being able to pay for health care and, basically working till they die? Are they going to face no social security or very little social safety nets? What are they going to, what about climate change? What about that? Are they, are they going to face, terrible climate change or terrible storms without, infrastructure to allow them to actually be able to live? I wonder about the next generation. And I wonder that, do we even care? I think that we've been radicalized in all about making money, and that's the end all to be all. But building a bunker, it may not be the answer. Building a huge wealth, huge amount of wealth for your kids may not be the answer. I think that even if you have that bunker or you have that huge amount of wealth, I think that the next generation is still going to struggle with a lot of these same things. That is, if we don't do anything about it. But we don't care really, I don't think, or we feel helpless. We feel like there isn't anything we can do about it. I'm saddened by that thought. I'm saddened by the thought that things will just continue the way that they are, because whenever we make arguments about, systemic change, people say, we can't do that, or it's too expensive, or you know, you're dreaming, or it'll never be a utopia, or it seems like people feel like things are fine, things will never be any better than they are. Like, I'm crazy to think that you know that we could try to make policies or change the way our society is set up to better our give our next generation more of a chance. And then it's like, just worry about yourself and your family and your kids and just do that, and that's the best you can do. But collectively as a society, then we still suffer in that scenario. you know I think that we have to start thinking collectively. We have to start thinking in a way that you know you plant a tree that you'll never see the shade of, you know but you can grow older in solace with the idea that someone will enjoy that shade, that someone will enjoy the fruit of that tree, you know that someone will breathe better oxygen as a result. you know I think that we have to try to think that something is greater than us. Like, something is more important than our own personal ambitions. Even like I say, even dealing with your own family and friends and your own children and grandchildren, something even bigger and greater than that. And like, what sacrifices are we willing to do to make that happen? Are we willing to, change our own lifestyles and, change the things that we do to, at the very least, set up an example for the children to do another route other than working a job that they hate, just doing work just to do it so that you can pay your bills and going day to day on your hamster wheel, not getting no satisfaction and no fulfillment, you know? I don't know. What is the answer? I'm super concerned about the next generation and the generation after that. My children and my children's children. What are they gonna go through? What kind of things are they gonna face? And what scares me the most is that things are just gonna stay the same, and they're just gonna go through the same struggles that I went through, and that keeps me up at night. I don't know about y'all, but I really, it really scares me that things are just going to go on the way that they are. It's going to continue to be the status quo. And you have millions of people on the planet who are miserable, and they live their life miserably, waiting to die. What do we do about that? What's up, Pat? How you feel?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I can't complain. What do you think, man? What do you
I
think?
have this conversation that you've been having. I have it with myself all the time, man. It's just and then I of course try to pass along to at least people close to me, because I think that we've gotten to a point to where things have been so easy for us. We've grown up in this microwave society, and no one thinks they have to do anything anymore. And the people who know that things don't happen without the movement, they are doing things, and they're creating what when we talk about people manifesting, they're manifesting a now and a future for themselves, at least as much as they can. And these are, man, I don't know, bro. It's just, to me, it's like the people who actually have that can actually create a future, so to speak, are sitting around doing nothing. And you know, the people who they used to be ahead of, and you know, I guess they knew that they would be here for, you know, millions more years, is kind of just taking the back seat and just not really doing anything about, you know, making things better while they are here. It doesn't make sense to me that, you know, there's not some more of an effort, because it's like, what do you do? And then the because I don't know, did I don't know if I was able to send that video or not, but there was a truck driver. Yeah, I don't know if it went through. A truck driver.
I saw it stuck in. I didn't get to watch the whole thing though. He was stuck because they were protesting and he couldn't get through. That's the video you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, okay, when you decide to do something, it's a big spectacle, but are you affecting any of the people that it really needs to, like, to affect? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, other than something that you're able to put on the news and say, oh, we were there and this is what we did. Like, what does it change?
What are you accomplishing?
Exactly. It's just like, why are we so bent on, you know, these public displays of nothingness, when, you know, we could do something much more effective without so much noise? You know,
Yeah,
it don't have to be all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
yeah. Strength moves in silence, and the weak cause riots. So it's. I
Yeah.
think. What's up, dudes? How you feeling, man?
Hey, pretty good, bro. Pretty good, man. What do you got? If you don't mind, man, I just came in. What are you guys speaking on?
We're talking about the next generation. You know, what about the next generation? And what I was about to say is that I think that they have us thinking in this mindset of this individuality type of mindset. Like it's all about me. I got to get first in traffic. You know, I got to get in up ahead. I gotta win. You know, I got to win at the game of life individually. And I think that for us to be able to, we have to care about our neighbors' children. You know, uh, our neighbors' children, to be able to look at it in that way so that we can set things up to be better for the next generation. What I was saying was, I'm afraid. It keeps me up at night. The idea that my children and my children's children are going to go through the same things that I've gone through in my life, you know, the
even worse.
struggles, or worse, much worse. And the struggles, the emptiness, the miserableness, do you
Bro,
get what I'm saying?
look, most people today can't even fathom or think that it's impossible for another generation to go into slavery. And we've looked at these ancient books of how, over thousands and thousands of years, where there was slavery. Now, was it the same slavery that our great grandparents and great grandparents went through? Maybe it wasn't as brutal, because, you know, we were looking at something that was like first of its time. Some, you know, a people that never had any power, displaying this newfound power, that didn't know how to handle it. But at the same time, like, we're looking at a time where we can go back to where our great grandparents were, and we were in the position to make change, and we were too much of suckers to try to be nice, to do anything about it. You know, like, too too
Weak.
vain, or too, like, I don't know, like, it's we're too much of a too many different things to really even you know what I'm saying, like
and
like
and
if
then And people
Go
think
ahead.
that they can't make a difference. They think that it's hopeless, That's why they say just, why worry? Because people tell me this kind of stuff all the time. They're like, why are you worried about this? You know, there's nothing you could do about it, man. Just look out for your family and your friends, and that's the best you can do, You're talking about some hopeless, impossible stuff, you know? And I'm not saying
Bro,
that they're wrong. It's just that
no, they are wrong. They are wrong. Let's just make it clear that they are wrong. But the problem is that the majority of people on the planet believe that they are the minority people on the planet. Like that's like there's people who saw that even though they were the minority, that as long as like if I come up with TV, like this way to make them to believe that they are smaller, they can win. So if everywhere you look, all you think is this, one group of people and how much power they have, like, bro, like I don't like. I think I mean numbers don't lie, and as long as there's a will, there's a what?
There's a way. And if we could just get enough people to be thinking in this collective type of manner,
That's
then,
it.
we can move mountains. What they say, faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain.
Yes,
So
but
people got to believe, they got to, really truly believe that they can make a difference, and on an individual level, there's only so much you can do, but together we're strong.
but
And
see, but to me, I'm I'm sorry because I mean, I guess it's to me it's very weird that when you have a solid plan, and because it's such a simple plan, that it seems ridiculous. But us sticking together is the stupidest plan to them. Like what? Us like what? You and me be friends and friends with them too, and even them, like
and and we all work together to accomplish some goal, that ain't never
yeah,
gonna work. And because that's what people always say. They're like, oh, somebody's gonna say this, or somebody ain't gonna do the right thing, or somebody ain't gonna put in their work, and you
do
all worried
your
about
part.
do your part. Don't worry about what the next man is doing. Do your part. And if enough of us do that, then that's where we can get some things shaking.
Hmm.
Stop worrying about what the next. So just because some other person, and it may be true that they're gonna
Yeah,
drop the ball,
yes, some of them not gonna work.
but that can't be the motivation for you to not do what you do. It's like people always want to find an excuse not to put in effort. You know, they're looking for an excuse not to do anything. So then that's why this nonsense is what dominates, the media, is because people kind of entertain themselves with nonsense because, that's their distraction, instead of putting forth effort into trying to make a change to make things better. They're like, oh, it's pointless anyways. Then they have to fill up their mind with this garbage, this nonsense. They have to be constantly stimulated. They have to, that's why the reels are so freaking popular. You just scroll from one reel to the next, 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 and it's completely different subjects and completely different topics, and it stimulates you, for 3 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever. You scroll to the next one, it stimulates you for 15 seconds, but you're not doing anything. You're in arrested development. you know you're just wasting time. You're not accomplishing anything because they look at it and they think it's too hard. It's too hard. I'm gonna just sit here and find some nonsense to entertain me from 1 minute to the next. And I think that's why there's so much anger, where people just, we're bipolar, we're schizophrenic, you know, We switch from happy to sad immediately. We're easily triggered, bunch of snowflakes. And it's because we're not focused on anything. So, because if you were focused on accomplishing something, all that nonsense is not going to affect you like that. All of the stimulation, all of the, the stuff that's supposed to get you all in your feelings, like maybe for a second you'll entertain it, but then you back on your grind because you're focused. You got something you're trying to take care of. It's something you're trying to do. It's like, I don't have time for that. I'm not going to even allow it. I'm not going to entertain it. I'm not going to allow it to distract me from what I'm trying to accomplish. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I literally don't have time to watch TV. I don't have time to scroll fucking reels.
Bro, I'll go visit people, whatever, and they're like, hey, yeah, turn it to whatever you want. Here's the remote. It's like, bro, I don't even know where to begin. What is even good to look at? What's on TV? Like, I really don't know what's on TV.
Yeah, let's just turn it off and have a conversation about making things better, making a plan, to better our situations collectively.
Or at least a contingency plan, like where, okay, all right, if we're not going to do anything to change it, all right, what are we going to do to deal with whatever's coming? How about that part?
Yeah. Can we be prepared? How many things is coming down the pipe? How many things are they distracting us from? This whole thing with the death of the guy, and it's all down the timeline, and people are it's like the new Rodney King thing, and it's a horrible thing that happened, but it's like, what are you doing other than being angry? What are you doing other than being, and they feed off of that. They feed off of our energy, that we put out there as a result of this, and I saw more and more, I'm seeing posts where they say, man, I'm not watching that video, it's traumatic, I'm avoiding it like the plague. I'm not watching that video, and that I've been saying that, we've been saying that on this show for over a year now about all of those videos. Don't watch them, and I think the internet is starting to catch on to a certain extent, but it's still all down my timeline, it's still all down my timeline, replaying this damn video. And like, what do you think you're helping by replaying this video? What are you accomplishing by playing this video? It's the energy vampires that they're feeding on this shit, because our energy is put into this instead of putting it into something that's constructive, something that's building, something that can actually make a change. Yes, you should be upset about it. And it doesn't matter what race you are, everyone should be upset about it, but what about the next generation? What about them? Are they just going to continue? We put on a t-shirt and we march and then we forget about it. And then it all happens again, and our kids go through the same shit. What the hell, man?
And I'm kind of glad. I say glad. This is a weird place for me to say I'm glad, but I'm saying that because it's black cops, maybe they'll start to realize more. And maybe I'm asking for a lot, but I'm hoping that they'll realize more that this is more of a fight between good and evil than it is black and white.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
A spiritual war that's happening, and if people can stop it with these culture wars and these scapegoating and this blaming and this making themselves into victims, if we can get past thinking like that and come together and realize that we're all suffering, and something needs to change. It needs to be dramatic change, not this incremental on the edge type change. It needs to be systemic change. It needs to be dramatic change. You know, the way we do things needs to be dramatically changed. You know, you can't be like, oh, somebody's going to get paid, or we're just going to do the lawsuit and they're going to get paid and you wipe my hands of it. You know, it's over. And then the same thing happens again. Oh, well, that person's going to get paid. So, you know, wipe my hands of it. It's good. You know, and then it happens again. And then it happens again. And it happens again.
A lot of it like clockwork, because it just seems like it's during certain periods that where stuff like this happens. You know, so it happens a few times out throughout the year, but it's usually around the same times.
And we're all suffering. And when we arguing about like transgenders and who's using what bathroom, and if they're allowing African American AP studies, or, you know, I mean, you name it. Trump did this, Biden did that, you know, the Republicans did this, the Democrats did that, you know, you name it.
All right, see, now you're trying to start a fight.
It still leads to this ineptness, this arrested development, where we're not getting anything done. Nothing. It's still, the status quo continues. You know.
Yeah.
We still getting drained. We still on the freaking hamster wheel. They're still running out the door with the bag. We still don't have health care. We still fighting freaking inflation. We still don't have infrastructure. You know, our water systems are ass.
And
you know?
we don't even have the right kind of money to go into the future. We still like at the bottom of the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we claim to be preparing for, like, we're not even, bro, oh Lord. Like, I mean, when we really talk about being ready for the future, or like, you know, we're setting our children up for failure because we're, you know what I'm saying, we're not doing the right things that are even help them get to a big, you know, a firmer position when they're adults. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing, like, because I mean, you know, I am into, you know, like the crypto and stuff like that, but the future is also the past. Like, I mean, there's certain things that is always gonna be true, and God's money is silver and gold, bro. If you don't have something that has value within itself, that's backed by those, because I mean, it could be any natural resource as far as I'm concerned, but still, like, where's our abundance of it, our growth in it, or in any of it? Like, we keep investing in a dollar, or getting, you know what I'm saying? Like, they showing us these differences because we already saw Bank of America. I saw something earlier where Chase is starting to shut down ATMs. So getting cash and this, that, and the other, the cashless society is coming still. What are we doing on a mass scale? Because I mean, there's some black folks that's coming up. You know, they doing some things, but it's always been that way. It's not gonna be enough to really push it to where we can say that, you know, where we can start lifting up other, you know, other people for us, you know, ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've always had a position where they can help their own. We're not. Where are we doing that? You know what I'm saying? I've been talking about the farming stuff for a well over, you know what I'm saying? Well, for a long time, but on this show over a year, about as long as we've been on here, because it's been just over a year or so. We can't feed each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of the core things, even if we don't even have our own monetary system, like, nobody can just say such and such got a farm, and you know, we can at least kind of give them, $50 a week, $100 a week, or whatever we can afford to keep them going, so that when shit falls off, we got somewhere we can, that we've been supporting that will kind of pay us back. But I don't know,
And
man.
we have to figure out a way to find some solidarity instead
Yeah,
of finding all these things that we don't agree on. You know,
we got yes,
we got to find the stuff that we agree on, because we're all suffering. So we need to realize that, and hopefully make some changes for the next generation so that they won't be suffering the same or worse. You know, and the media doesn't want that. You know, it gets clicks. The nonsense gets clicks. The divisiveness gets clicks. You know, the polarization gets clicks. You know, it's not, like I say, it's not a coincidence that we have two dominant parties politically, where you got to pick a side. And it's just another thing that divides us all up. We're divided by race. We're divided by income brackets. We're divided by political parties. You know, we're divided by certain ideologies related to cultural,
social, yeah.
traditional marriage, uh, all this stuff.
Oh, just the men and women fighting over,
Yeah, yeah,
bro, gender wars, as we can call it.
yeah,
Bro, this is really insane, and it was created by who considers themselves our enemy, I guess, to some extent. But you know, who's stupid? I mean, who's the stupid one? The ones who are getting played, or the ones who's playing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
y'all fell for it. Like, I mean, you can't really blame them, because it's like, yeah, we did, but y'all fell for it. You did.
Yeah, I blame ourselves. I blame us way more than them, And then, because if you boil it down to just simple life forever, the holy trilogy, father, mother, and child, it's like the that's nature. Like, as far as like for things to continue, you're gonna have to have this dynamic, or this balance, or this, camaraderie, between the man and the woman, working together, you know, to allow life to continue forever. And then you expand that within society, and it's the same thing. For our society to continue, for humans to continue, we have to work together, right? How else could we move forward? How else
There
can
is
we
no other.
continue to survive? Oh, I want.
I'm wait. I'm waiting for that answer. I don't, been waiting for that type of answer.
Right now, it's looking pretty bad, man. I want to play a clip because I got to get my food. I got some food cooking, and I need to go grab it. So I'm gonna go play. I'm gonna
If you need to
play.
mute, if you need to mute, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Check this out.
The debt.
Check this
Those things.
out.
As politics since the founding of the republic, and the fights over it, the increase in it, and the way that we manage it actually tells us a lot about the times that we're in. In the 2010s, it seemed that we were living in the era of debt politics, the rise of the Tea Party in Greece, and then the immense fights that were picked with President Obama. Trump seems to have wiped some of that. This temporary disappearance, that we're back. Back to what? No, exactly. What is debt? Should we even care about it at all? How did it even get like this anyways? The modern history of U.S. debt is actually fascinating, and it tells us a lot about American elites and their priorities and history. So let's go. When did we first incur debt? The first debt incurred by the sovereign United States technically happened during the Revolutionary War, but as we understood it today, after Alexander Hamilton structured the debt to the tune of nearly $77 million in 1790. Debt continued to increase 19th century with the Louisiana Purchase, despite attempts. It especially ballooned during the War of 1812 to approximately $127 million. Now, a familiar story begins to emerge in U.S. history. We get a lot of debt during territorial expansion and during war, followed by a period of kind of paying it off, but not really. President Andrew Jackson, in his campaign against the National Bank of the United States, to approximately zero in 1835, only for it to explode again during the Mexican War. From that period onward, internal strife, territorial expansion, and more continued the debt upward until it blew up during the American Civil War. There again, we saw an increase, a historic rise in the debt crossing the threshold and peaking at approximately $2.8 billion in 1865. From there, the wild economic Gilded Age kept us in debt, combined with the Spanish-American War and other attempts at establishing the American Empire. Overall, the debt remained relatively stable, approximately consistent at $2 to $3 billion, until, you guessed it, the First World War. It exploded American debt from $2 billion in 1913 to $5.7 billion when the war ended, and somehow it began ballooning to $25 billion in 1920. The Roaring Twenties helped pay down some of America's debt, or at least keep it stable, dropping below $16 billion, but going down until the Great Depression. The election of FDR and the establishment of social welfare programs, unprecedented at the time, exploded the debt again, beginning in 1933 at $22 billion and ending after World War II at a whopping $258 billion. Here again, see a new normal. America is the world leader. It has expansion programs. These things seem to be okay right up until 1965. With the simultaneous expansion of Medicare combined with the Vietnam War, pushed the debt up to some $350 billion before it just kept even more exponentially. By 1980, we had $1 trillion. And when Reagan came into office, he did two simultaneous things. He massively expanded the military budget and he cut taxes. And from there, we are off to the races. The debt was increasing fivefold under Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush. George H.W. Bush under Clinton, we had a very brief respite, mostly because of the dot-com boom, which massively increased federal tax revenues, and because finally we weren't fighting any more damn wars. We reduced our military spending. We actually had a budget surplus for an extraordinary period, a very rare occurrence in U.S. history. But all things come to an end. We got smacked by the dot-com crash, then 9/11. Bush did two things that you should care about the national debt. He massively cut tax, and he invaded two foreign nations. Doesn't take a genius to figure out what comes next. A doubling of the national debt under George W. Bush to finance programs and dangerous foreign wars to the tune of $1 trillion less actual, or with more actual money. Obama, similar story. You keep the war machine going in Afghanistan and Iraq, $1 trillion or more so per year, in addition to Obamacare and some moderate expansion of the federal government. Then, of course, you get Donald Trump, who cut taxes again, and for the most part, kept the war machine running up until 2019. Then COVID happens, and that accelerated the game even more. Unprecedented bailouts, stimulus checks, $31 trillion in debt today, counting. What do we do about it? If you look back at the story I just told, there are three major components that actually contribute the most over time to our debt. One is social spending, which is enormously popular and effectively untouchable. Two is foreign wars. Since our founding, wars have historically ballooned the federal debt and expanded the role of government to levels that we never quite see. Less federal revenue, but bailouts. Now, I'm not against bailouts per se, as long as they're for the average American and not industry, but you can guess where the vast majority of bailout money has gone in the last 2 centuries, which brings us to the choice that we face today. Our debt has increased by $10 trillion just this year in 2022, up to 2023. Worse, our actual debts are going up astronomically because the Federal Reserve is now raising rates. Now, to the extent that this is a problem, I think it highlights how futile much of our discussion around this is. Here is the reality. 16% of the $6.27 trillion federal budget is non-military, non-entitlement spending. That's basically a rounding error on our debt. We really only have a few good options to actually solve it. And those are stopping military adventurism abroad, ensuring proper federal revenues come in instead of slashing taxes repeatedly for the wealthy, and having a stable, non-financialized economy that doesn't crash all the time. I've yet to see anyone actually lay it out this way. And when you look at the story over nearly 300 years, it actually seems pretty simple. Unfortunately, we know that every point we must never learn the right lesson. It's really interesting, actually, whenever you see that.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is and we're not in ways.
All right, I'm back. Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What do y'all think about the debt stuff he was talking about just now?
Well, to me, like, I mean, I understand that a lot of what they consider debt is not really debt. I mean, we got to really think about, okay, really, I mean, I guess to some extent it is, but because it's a debt system. So there's, for every dollar that's made, there's debt created. So really the debt should be more than what it really is based on that idea. But when we're really talking about, because I think one of the other videos that you sent kind of discusses why, really the reason why all that's going on, because all of the waste. But aside from the waste, I think that we really just it's waste on top of waste on top of waste. Because I mean, all of the things that they claim to do are going to do, they'll maybe start the project, but they never complete it. You know what I'm saying? I've kind of been mentioning this here and there on different subjects, but it kind of 360s right back to the same thing. It's just like we have people in position that's not doing their job. Like they're not making our country a better place. We're spending, like, I mean, based on some numbers that I saw Trump came up with, where it's like $6 trillion of spending that has gone to, like, pretty much to waste, where it would be understandable if our airports and our roads and our bridges and like the infrastructure was on point and we had the amount of debt that we have, but our country still looks like shit. And even though it's still a beautiful country, like, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, based on what the rest of the world is looking like, we look like crap, and we're in debt to what was supposed to be countries that's not as great as ours. So it's hard for me to really even deal with or swallow that nobody is upset with the fact that nothing is getting done and their money is getting dwindled out to everyone else, and they're progressing, but we're not. I can't get past that.
Let me read some comments. Go ahead, Deuce. You got a comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I think that there is more people that are upset than not, that their money that they're paying each week out of their salary, is not doing anything to benefit us, as a people. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a lot of people that are pissed about the whole inflation, that's pissed that the roadways, are crap, that are pissed that, this government, the system that we're under right now, is just ruining our lives, bro. Like, it's basically ruining our lives. It's not getting any better, and it's like, okay, I hear people say, well, we need to do something to stick together and this or that, but it's like, okay, trying to rally everybody up to go to Washington and overturn this fucking government. You know what I'm saying? Get people on board with that shit. then it's like, okay, now we got to think about, you know, let's think about all these poor folks that are actually just getting by just off of government assistance. You know, are they going to be willing to rally in? You know, like, are we truly going to have enough people that's going to say, okay, enough is enough? Because I think the everyday working class people, the people that are faced with these tough decisions week in and week out, you know, trying to just provide simple shit, groceries, you know, loaf of bread, trying to keep milk in their house, eggs in their house. I think they are pissed. You know, I believe that there's a lot of people that are pissed, but it's just the same thing, bro. It's trying to come up with a solution to combat this shit. And I think everybody is like, okay, well, what the fuck do we do? What do we truly do that's gonna be, you know, our actions are gonna be so significant that this shit is gonna turn around. You know, and I don't think neither one of us have the fucking answers. I think we're all, you know, slave to our belief and believe, you know, but it's like, what do we have the answer and actions going forward to take that's really going to be significant enough to overthrow this government, to overthrow the shit that they're doing, you know, and build, you know, and start over from scratch, you know. I mean, we saw, and Pat, you even agreed with it. We saw frustration. We saw people angry. You know, January, people call these people idiots. No, you know what? I think we need more of that shit, bro. I hear people say, "Oh, rioting does nothing," or protesting does. No, fuck that, bro. Like protesting and standing on these motherfuckers' neck is probably what we need to do, because
Well,
this a passive aggressive ass way of thinking, and let you know, let's not do that. You know, even Martin Luther King got fucking aggressive in the end. Even he started stepping on motherfuckers' neck. So this whole passive aggressive pussy ass shit, it needs to go out the window.
Well,
Maybe we need to fight them the way that they fight us and destroy our lives. And you know, mental health is on the rise. People killing themselves every day. These little children are killing themselves every day, bro, because of the struggle. They're hungry. They're tired of living. They're going to school without any fucking proper clothing. You know, they're tired. So it's like, okay, we're gonna be passive aggressive about that. Fuck that, nigga. Fuck
all
that
right,
shit.
all right, all right,
I
all right, all right.
sympathize with your argument. And one part that you said was really good. But before I say that, before you came on, me and Pat was talking about how like these protests is not accomplishing anything. But the part that you said that was really significant was about how many people are like in the government that depend on the government, like all these government jobs and so forth and so on. Are these people really going to be willing to like, you know, want to go put forth effort to dismantle the system when they rely on the government literally for their livelihood? And we're not just talking about people who are on food stamps and stuff. I'm talking about all these federal jobs and state jobs and so forth and so on. But look, the answer that I give with that is that, you know, instead of trying to necessarily dismantle the government or go in and try to get them to do right, build our own thing within this thing, you know, and let that grow over time. And just at some point, the government will be obsolete. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, and that's the part that I think a lot of people miss is that because like I mean if all right, you know, if we have the core things that we need and we can provide for ourselves, and you know maybe we go to you know use some of their stuff for you know whatever it is we need until we can get the rest of it. Okay, and yeah, they're probably going to try to do things to try to slow us down or hurt us or whatever, which they have done. I mean, those times have already come and gone. They've done those. Well, I'm just saying, but I mean,
Yeah.
but as far as us building our own infrastructure, where when they decide that they not going to feed us anymore, like oh well, the supply chain is down, we're going to
Yeah.
starve. They're trying to starve out a country across the way, but they're starving us out in order to starve them out. Like
Yeah.
we can do things that can
So
you
what
know
we need to do is find these. What we need to do is find these farmers or these ranchers that are still privately held that hadn't been bought out or hadn't sold their shit off to Tyson or Pilgrims or to the government, but it's still a small thriving ranch that sells, you know, cattle within the community or fruits and vegetables. We need to go and we need to find them and we need to sow into them and support them, you know, as a collective. You know,
Yeah.
that way we're feeding ourselves. We're able to feed these, you know, the different communities, and everybody puts so much
But
into that.
but
You
listen,
know,
Well, I say our future is our past, and the reason why I said it like that was like if we do what we did in the past, we'll be okay. Like you know, maybe we don't have diamonds and you know rocking out on big gold chains and this, that, and the other, but if we have a way to feed ourselves, we create
bro,
co-ops where like
when the
these
famine hit, them motherfuckers with them diamond chains and all that bullshit, they gonna
They're
be
gonna
running to us.
they're gonna
Hey
be
man,
starving.
yeah, they gonna
but
be
but see
starving. They gonna
And
be
but
that,
see
running to
but
us,
that's
looking
but
for
see
help.
but that's the thing. You know, at least they'll have somewhere to go. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we might maybe we're in a position where we can accept the gold and we can make an exchange to where, you know, whatever it is that we're gonna create, we can build on it. So I mean, but that's the thing. Those co-ops were like, yeah, everybody in the community can grow this one thing, but we know that that's not going to be beneficial to everybody for everybody to grow this one thing. They got together. All right, you're gonna go this, and this. All right, and they will have cycles because that land is gonna start produce. You know, take using up certain minerals for certain foods. So everybody's gonna have to rotate what they're doing. So that cooperative is what's gonna allow those scheduling periods between everybody who's growing, and of course, even during the periods when we have bad weather, storms and stuff that might mess up crops or whatever might be going on, like we have something in place that will, you know, when one person has kind of maybe fallen off for whatever reason,
We're
we
gonna
can
have
still
to
pick them
really
up.
protect our shit too. We're gonna have to come together as a collective and really protect our shit, you know, and watch out for these low flying drones or these fucking
yeah.
planes that are flying across. Watch out for vehicles that are circling or motherfuckers, unknown motherfuckers that just pop up because you know once we start doing that, they're gonna send they bullshit. They're gonna send the fuckery to us to try to damage our crops. Oh, there was a plane flying across that released some, you know,
And
unknown fertilizer that killed the crops. You
and
know,
that
like
that's where the militia, like local type militias, come in because you'll need security. You know, food and water is going to be the you know the main thing that people are going to be fighting over.
Well, you
So
know, they caught one of the Montesano guys actually seeding areas with locusts because they wouldn't eat the Monsanto plants, but all the little mom and pop guys out there that didn't buy the Monsanto stuff had to use herbicides and stuff like that.
damn, that's so evil. That's
Now,
upper level evil right there.
again, this was never proven or excuse me, it was brought to court and it was dismissed.
That's
Now,
upper level.
that's
mind you,
because
I'm pretty
Montana is
sure there
worth
was a
so much
big fat
fucking
check with
money.
a bunch of zeros to get it dismissed.
Oh yeah, that's because they're worth Montana. They're worth so much fucking money, man. And they are the biggest when you think about seeds. When you
Well,
look at
you know,
seeds and
Bill
things of
Gates
that
is the
nature.
number one owner of farmland in the United States, right?
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
buying more and more.
And you know why? Because they pay him not to grow certain crops. I mean, he gets free money from the government just because he owns farms that he doesn't really use that much.
So sad. Let me read a
I
couple
think
comments.
there's a plan to use them, but with some of this new stuff that they're coming out with, but
Yeah, he's big
Yeah.
on the in the genetic modification stuff too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me read a couple comments underneath this video. It says, I still remember the late 1990s when people were upset that the government collected more taxes than it spent. The anti-tax people had no regard to paying down the debt back then or using the interest payments on useful projects. Another comment, it says, good summation by Sager. One point that I would like to add is that the 2008 housing crisis precipitated public debt growing faster than private sector debt. We've been running huge federal deficits to sustain the economy because the private sector has reached peak debt in most segments of the economy and cannot grow fast enough to avoid a recession. If the debt doesn't grow by 2% per year, we typically go in a recession. The federal government can incur deficit spending for a long, long time, just like at Japan, which has a much higher debt to GDP ratio. Aging demographics of the U.S. are headwinds to growth. If we're really serious about paying down the debt, then we need to raise taxes, especially on the wealthy. The last tax cuts by Trump were fiscally irresponsible. I don't see politicians on both sides reducing the debt. No one wants to raise taxes or cut spending. What everyone fails to mention is that someone's debt is someone else's asset. So the wealthy will never allow a default. They will always bail themselves out.
Yep. I don't know, bro.
Well, we all know Uncle Sugar's going to take care of us, whether we're the rich or the poor. It's the people in between that get shafted.
Yeah. Let me read this one. It says, the third aspect really gets to the point of why deficits are so high. The U.S. relies on ordinary people's incomes for taxation, whether it's income taxes or sales tax, but pay stopped keeping up with productivity since the late 70s. Had it kept up, deficits will be much smaller, all things being equal. One more comment. It says, there have been years where the annual deficit, new debt, was equal to the interest payments on the old debt. It's like taking a paycheck loan to pay the interest minimum on your max credit card bill. We're insane. More credit cards. Get a credit card. Get another credit card to pay your other credit card, and just pay the minimum payment on that other credit card using the other credit card to do it. That's craziness. That's craziness. Let me play the clip because you kind of mentioned this earlier. Let me play Trump's little clip right here.
It's about
Uncle Trump.
Somebody running it that has idea about money.
Facts.
Our country's a mess. You know, it's one thing to have 20 trillion in debt and our roads are good and our bridges are good and everything's in great shape. Our airports are like from a third world country. You land at LaGuardia, you land at Kennedy, you land at LAX, you land at Newark, and you come in from Dubai and Qatar and you see these incredible, you come in from China, you see these
How
incredible
we in so much debt?
And you
still ain't got good roads to
we
drive
become
on.
a third world country. So the worst
Make
of
that
all
make
things
sense.
has happened.
Come
We
on.
owe $20 trillion and we're a mess. We haven't even started. And we've spent $6 trillion in the Middle East, according to a report that I just saw, whether it's 6 or 5, but it looks like it's 6. $6 trillion in the Middle East. We could have rebuilt our country twice. It's about time.
Okay. Comments.
I mean, it's common sense, but the common sense stuff don't fit right in America. Like if it's something that just got a good, like just down, like looks, let's simply do this, do that. We can, we could do this, do that, and have this and do that, and whatever everything you say that you got now, and prettier. If we just focus on this, somebody finds a way to be upset with it.
All right, bro. Whether you like them or not, whether you think all sides of the government, Republican or Democrat, is bad, hey man, we need somebody like him in there. We need somebody that's gonna bring this shit back together. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yes, I understand that he had some policies and things that wasn't necessarily the best, but just hearing him talk and that, hey, yeah.
What policies did he have that was bad? I mean,
I didn't say he had policies that was bad. I say
Well, I
although
can
he
name
may have
one.
had some policy. I said although he had some policies that that we may not agree with, or some of us may not agree with. I didn't say
All
he
right.
had anything bad. I feel like
Okay.
I
he
can
was
name
going
one.
in the right direction
All right.
with them.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to hear what Chaka got to say. He
I
said,
can name one. The tax cuts for the rich that he did. He
"Oh
pushed
my
that shit
God."
through. Huge ass tax cuts. Like, if you want
But
to
he
be worried
also,
about
but
the
he
debt,
also did tax
But
cuts for small
but it wasn't
businesses
just
like Pat. People
but it
that
wasn't
small
just for the
businesses
rich.
that
It
was
wasn't
making
just for the rich
300,000
either,
a
though.
year.
yeah. But if you worried about the debt, then you worried about how much money you got coming into the system,
Well, see,
and
but that's
instead of using that money,
bro.
you stop bringing it in.
Listen. See, it's a game that they play because they talk crap about the Democrats. The Democrats always got this plan that they're gonna tax the rich. They never tax the multi, because I mean, even if they'll do it on a personal level, it's like they got ways they lie about all of that stuff, and the corporations, where if they could really tax them the way that they should, yes, we would have no problem. Like, we should never
I got a
we would be recirculating our own pretty much money if we had that. But the main thing that when we talk about doing tax cuts is so that businesses can thrive, so they can produce, and especially if they meet certain criteria. If they hire, they got people that they hire, they should have a benefit. That's what a lot of that is. But the middle class,
The same companies that's paying people starvation wages.
But hold on, Tucker. Cause see, you can't be on both sides of the fucking fence at the same time, nigga. Hold on, because now you talking about Trump cutting taxes for the rich. But if he's cutting taxes for the rich, how is it that the Democrats always seem to fucking win and get in office? When most of the majority of the major corporations in this country, the CEOs, the main motherfuckers that own it, are Democrat. So come on now, let's really
The Republican and
this
Democrat
shit, bro.
part doesn't matter. The Democrats do the same. They do the same thing.
It does matter. It does matter when you say
when you
Trump
talking
cut.
politics.
Yeah, when you're talking politics, and
because
when you
he's
saying Trump
identified
cut
as a Republican.
Yeah, you got to think about that shit, and then you come back after Pat's argument and say the same companies that pay us slave wages. Well, nah, nigga, you on both sides. Is either, you know what I'm saying? Maybe if they got more tax cuts, they wouldn't pay you slave wages. You know
No,
what
they
I'm
not.
saying?
They are. They're gonna continue to pay slave wages, and they're gonna use their stock buybacks and push their stocks up, and they're gonna pay their CEOs bonuses.
But what?
We got evidence for that.
We realize, right, in this world, and I don't, and this is all over the world. We realize that no job is ever gonna truly pay you what you are truly worth. But what is slave wages? Because the only, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is no shot at nobody. The only jobs that I worked at that I felt like paid me slave wages was when I worked in the restaurant industry. When I worked in food service, I got paid fucking horrible, $8, $9 an hour, getting paid every 2 weeks. Or I had a couple of jobs that paid every week, only seeing like a $200, $300 paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is no disrespect to anybody. And then the other job was a government job I had working as a correctional officer. That was fucking slave wages. You know what I'm saying? But if you go into any type of warehousing, logistics, manufacturing jobs, any of these jobs, I'm not saying they pay the greatest, but you can generally walk into these jobs at minimum 15 to 18 bucks an hour to start.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I worked in the warehouse and I made really good money, but then I worked at Home Depot and I was getting paid slave wages. It's I don't know. it's the bigger the company too. So, but the point is that if you're worried about the debt, then collect the rightful taxes that's already on the books. Stop letting these people use tax havens to hide their money so that they don't have to pay taxes. Stop giving them.
But a lot of people think that shit, bro. And I'm just gonna say this real quick. I'll shut up. I worked for one of the largest trucking companies in North America, Swift Transportation, and I always wondered how was a company that generates $3 to $4 billion a year in profit was tax exempt. And one day I was sitting in the driver's lounge and I was talking to another driver about that. I just so happened to be in Phoenix. Didn't even know the fucking guy, but he was the CFO of the company. He heard me and he came over and he pulled me to, he's like, you want to know how we are? And he sat down, we had lunch together, and he explained how Swift is tax exempt. Because what Swift do, okay, say 2023, they look at their revenue that they made or their profits that they made, or they take it based off of the revenue that they made for 22, and they project that, okay, that's how they become tax exempt, because for the year 23, they take their revenue divided by such and such and such or whatever, and then they pay their taxes ahead. So they become, everything that they do throughout the whole year of 2023 is tax exempt. And if they spend under that, then they get money back. But if not, you know, that's how majority of these corporations are tax exempt. You know what I'm saying? Is there companies out there that's not paying their fair share? Fuck yeah. You know, you got Walmart, you got Amazon, you got Costco, you know, these companies like that aren't paying their fair share in their taxes. But I mean, a lot of companies, that's how, you know, a lot of people think that they're scamming on their taxes, and they're really not. They're paying their shit ahead of time. So they may pay 5 million or you know, 10 million for the year 23 in taxes, and that's how they say, okay, well, we're tax exempt for the year.
Yeah, now, and I've heard that before, but the part that I want to talk about is that as far as, you know, sole proprietorship businesses, limited liability corporations, you know, small corporations, like there's so many more of those businesses than we're talking about. Because, like, yeah, we might see, you know, we got about, you know, 5 to 10 super large corporations that's making billions a year that may not pay a dime in taxes. And that's where, like, we try to, you know, they talk about they're gonna raise for the rich, but that's the one, like, it never affects the ones that's at the very top. It affects the ones who are making $1 million a year, or, you know, under 20 million a year. You know what I'm saying? And
you know,
that's,
it only takes 400,000 a year or more to be in the upper 5%.
That's middle class. The 400,000.
No, that's still the upper 5%, though.
No, that's like the upper, maybe 10.
That's schematics. The point is, if you're not taking in the amount that you should be taking in taxes, then that definitely affects the deficit.
But listen,
simple math.
Good. Well, no, see, no, but the problem is that they're not focusing on the debt at all. They're just paying enough of the interest to keep it afloat. They're not even trying to pay really a real payment of the debt, but they're creating new debt every cycle.
And that's why China's finna own us.
According to Investopedia.com, the top 1% is $823,000 a year. The top 5% is $343,000 a year, and the top 10% is $174,000 a year.
Damn, I'm not even in the top 10%. Fuck.
I don't think that those numbers really matter. I think what matters is them not taking in the money that they're supposed to be taking in. And every time they get a chance, they cut taxes. because they're like, that's the main thing they talk about in politics.
Cutting taxes for the rich doesn't really do much. They already have so much there. They can freaking dodge taxes like bullets in the Matrix.
Well, that's another part that needs to be fixed. Close
But
those
then
loopholes.
also, but then also by them cutting taxes, it brings jobs back. Just think about when Trump did that shit. Look at how many manufacturing jobs came back to the country. Look at how many jobs came back from overseas, you know, and reopened their warehouses here in the country.
Well,
And now we
that
at
also
risk of losing that shit because of this fucking bullshit that we're
okay.
dealing with.
A lot of that also had to do with the Trump tariffs on like steel and other products that we had been outsourcing because it was just so much cheaper.
So he forced them to buy not from those other places.
I mean, Harley actually threatened to shut down and go overseas because of it. Because, well, we can't do the prices like this with if we can't get Chinese steel.
So it's a multi-pronged thing, and the other side of this is spending. Okay, and what do we spend on mostly? The military. So you got the fact that they want to cut taxes, and then you got the fact that they're totally willing to send billions and trillions of dollars. I got this really cool video. I think I sent it to y'all, but I sent it today, so y'all probably didn't get a chance to check it out.
The one about the all the people making money off of the Afghanistan war.
Yes.
I'd actually seen that, and
video is so awesome.
I was actually part of a podcast about a year ago talking about that. And talking about the reason they were trying to say the reason Biden was got out the way he did and left it was because they were paying him off to just leave the crap. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as we got kicked out, the Taliban actually should have gotten online and said, "Thank you, American taxpayers, for funding the rest of our war for the next 10 years."
And I feel like it was a whole money laundering thing. That's just laundering money into the military industrial complex, which are American companies, we have to say. A lot of these in the private contracts, these are American companies. That's true. But the money is coming straight out of the freaking federal treasury. So that it's basically coming out of the pockets, because we're talking about how the people can dodge taxes. The people who have the most money can dodge taxes. So the regular folks like me and you who can't dodge the taxes, our money is going into Lockheed Martin's pocket. You know, Raytheon, Boeing, go down the list. So me, Pat, Deuce, and Doc don't make hardly no money. I'm not. Except Pat, his ass is rich. Benefited from the damn Trump tax cuts, but the rest of us, our money is going
only for your homie to come in here and fuck it all up.
Our money is going straight into the pockets of these dudes for them to get rich. And this dude broke it down really good in this video where he explained the people who got rich off the Afghan war. Did y'all see any of it other than that?
Those American companies are being hired as mercenaries on the ground in Ukraine, which is really funny because just 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they were on the ground in Slovakia and places like that being hired by Russians.
Probably the same people, the same company.
Could be the very same people, yes.
That's what I be saying.
Literally, hey, I was working for him 10 years ago. Now I'm fighting them.
And that's what I be saying. These companies don't have no national pride. Like, we want to be nationalists and look out for America and America first and whatever.
They are absolutely 100% patriotic to the American dollar.
That's it. They don't care about the Americans.
E pluribus motherfucking unum.
Bro, bro, I'm gonna tell you, look, the way that how good war is for business is for especially going into those little countries, this, that, and the other. Like, bro, those people were like truly like the countries that's supposed to be getting bombed are making money out the wazoo too, bro. Say, man, like when the war coming, like they kind of be like they set up that they've already kind of probably discussed how it can go down, what areas to blow up, and like give good shows, like lights, camera, action for a good war visual for people to get behind it and show it on the news and all that.
Photo
Man,
ops
bro,
and PR.
yeah, a bunch of stuff that was constructed so that we can continue to believe that all that war and stuff is real.
But meanwhile, people are actually dying. Ukrainians are dying. Russians are dying. Real people are dying while they're making it, while they're cashing their checks.
They say so. I ain't seen that one.
These people, I've seen the videos are all down the internet, bro.
Well, you got to understand, just like when a car company gets a recall or something like that, there's an algorithm. How many lives are worth the amount of money that we spend?
Exactly.
Kind of like the crazy hot graph in How I Met Your Mother. How many deaths are acceptable to this amount of profit? It's the same kind of line. They find that intersection and they make sure they just stay just below outrage level.
I want to play clips of this video. Y'all stop me when you want to make comments on this, because I ain't gonna say it's dense, but he goes over a whole bunch of stuff here. So stop me.
I was actually listening to this as I was sweeping my section and doing my closing work tonight.
Have you ever heard of horror act? I mean, what are those? Damn, I can't think. These people, they're actors, but they go and act out these scenes that's supposed to be real, but just isn't. Damn, I can't think of. I'll think of it.
I know what you're talking about. It was happening. The White Helmets was doing it like crazy in Syria.
Dude,
but no,
like
this
outrage
real video.
Theater.
It happens, Pat. But there's videos on the internet. These are not fake videos. These are real ass videos of people dying.
This is a real war, and this is some real fucked up shit.
No, I'm not saying when you talking about Ukraine, and I'm just saying like I haven't seen. So I mean, to say it's not real, no, because honestly, I do believe it's real, because the reason behind it,
because people are making money.
Yeah. Well, not just that they're making money, but because of what the position of Russia means for them in that region. For him to be so powerful and strong in that region is not truly beneficial to anybody, especially with the plans that they're with their agenda. So,
but Pat, it's about Nazis.
It is. That's a big part of it. That's what I say.
I understand that part. What I'm saying is, when we're looking at it from the position, because I mean, I know my position. I'm saying as far as how, like, especially from the American, let's just say the American outlook of what the war is. Yeah, like it makes more sense for America to be upset and pissed, or not really even upset, but trying to control that situation in any way they can, is because of the power that Russia holds. Like they're like in Europe, they're
trying to weaken. They want to weaken Russia. They've been doing that for a long time.
Besides Germany, like Russia can like really take over everything there. You know what I'm saying? Like if with enough time. With
Yeah,
just
well, I
enough
don't know about
time.
that because they've been weakening them and weakening them and weakening them. Russia is weak right now. Let me play some of this and y'all stop me when you want to make
Says who?
comments.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't know. Go ahead.
Evidence that helps me piece together a very important question, which is who got rich off this war that we fought in Afghanistan. Let me tell you what happened on August 15th, 2021. The Taliban had entered Kabul after the entire country of Afghanistan. The war ended as it had begun, with the Taliban in power once again. Remember the scenes from the Kabul airport as Afghans tried to flee their country. But there's one guy who saw a business opportunity in all of this. This guy, Eric Prince, generously offered to help charter a plane to evacuate people from Kabul. The price tag, $6,500 per person. That was the market price that Eric Prince decided. But this wasn't the first time Eric Prince used the war in Afghanistan to get rich. In fact, this was one of the last of many instances where this guy profited off the Afghan war. And some of the ways he did it were kind of messed up. So after digging through the numbers, the reports, the Senate hearings, all of it, we've established a list of some of the top people who got crazy, stupid, rich off of the war in Afghanistan.
On my orders, the United States military has begun strikes against Al-Qaeda terrorist training camps and military installations of the Taliban regime in Afghanistan.
Before we get into our list, I want to talk about an important term here, which is government contractor.
$300 million in government contracts.
U.S. defense contractor, our broken system of government contracting.
At U.S. Federal Contractor Registration, we know that a government contract is worth more than the dollars awarded.
Here in the United States, we love the free market. I'm talking about this. So instead of having the clunky old federal government take care of all things war, we hire a lot of private companies to do it for us. This is companies that make our weapons, feed our soldiers, build our base, fuel our wars. Yes, we have private armies that we call security companies that basically are for hire. What this allows the government to do is post a job out there, like we need someone to build a road in Afghanistan. And in theory, what happens is a bunch of private companies come together and they all bid on how much it would cost to build this road. And whatever company gives the best price is chosen to go build that road. It's supposed to help the government get the best price. Okay, so where am I going with this? What I want you to understand is that there is this bidding process for private companies to go do things that the government needs. But in wartime, a lot of those processes of bidding go out the window because we're in wartime. So it's like an emergency. So instead, you get a lot of situations where there is no bidding on contracts. The government needs something done in Afghanistan really quickly. This company could do it. Name your price. We'll give you whatever you need.
As a client, the U.S. government is guaranteed to have the funds to pay you and will always pay you.
And it's that very process allowed people to take advantage of a system to let billion unaccounted for dollars be poured into private companies. All of this contributed to what a former Secretary of Defense called a culture of endless money inside the Pentagon. Okay, wait, before.
Okay, so y'all got comments on this so far? Can y'all hear me? My sound is weird.
No, I hear you.
Yeah. And we talk about freaking government contracts all the time on this show. And this guy is breaking it down, how it works.
Yeah, they need to award me some of that money.
Yeah, so the best contract you can get is a government contract, guaranteed money.
Hey, all you got to do is find a nice little war zone and say, I'm going to drive from here to there in that war zone, and they're going to throw you a shit ass ton of cash.
Now, shoot, which one?
Go to Ukraine, motherfucker.
Yeah, whichever one.
So you gonna transport fuel in Ukraine?
Shit.
He
I thought you was talking
thinking
about.
about that.
I thought you was. I
Fuel. I'll
thought
be
you was talking
driving the
about right
food
here.
truck.
I thought you was talking about right here in America.
Nah, we talking about in Ukraine. You got to go to Ukraine to get them big dollars.
Yeah, you got to go to a war zone to get that big money.
No, I mean no. I'm on the website shit every day. What you talking about? I know what's on there. I don't have to go nowhere.
I'm talking about if you want to get rich overnight, you gonna go haul fuel from the pipeline back
No,
over
wait,
to
wait,
Ukraine.
wait, guys. Listen to him for a minute, though. He says he's looking at the government contract websites. What are you seeing on there for you here in America?
I'm looking at stuff that I specialize in, but it's stuff that that y'all specialize in. That's on there too. And you,
But is it worth it to you?
I'm on it every night.
Well, yeah, on it looking and maybe laughing. That's why I'm asking if it's actually. Wait, I forgot. You're indigenous and all that. You actually have priority when it comes to government contracts.
What? You don't say. You just
Hey, man, I had to think. Well, you got to remember, I bagged a Lockheed contract for the reason that I was working for a foreign woman-owned business, and I bagged a contract that was $4 million over 3 years, and the guy fired me 2 days before it was signed.
No,
damn, you almost got paid. See,
oh no,
look.
well, see, he followed up with the lady, and I love this lady, Miss LB. I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if she'll get in trouble over it, but she found out that I had been working with him for 3 or 4 months, found some very specific specifications for computers, and got it all done in the price better than what she wanted. And he said he was thinking, well, I'm about to have to pay him like $8,000 to $12,000 a month for the next 4 years. He said, well, if I fire him and get that contract signed, I'll get all the money.
Yeah.
And
So-
praise the Lord, ethics won for once. She refused to do business with him because he fired me. Because he followed up. She found out I got fired and went to another business. She contacted me, and she wasn't supposed to, and actually tried to get the contract, but it was a woman-owned business, but unfortunately it was owned by a great-great-great-granddaughter of a Rockefeller, so they didn't qualify.
Well, so yeah, that how many times does that actually happen? Ethics winning out, and y'all forget that freaking Pat is rich. Y'all think he on the website for his health? Y'all think he doing it for fun?
Yeah, he said for kicks and shits and giggles. Shit, hell no. Oh shit, I'm serious.
Looking for another check, the next check. Let me play some more of this.
That link helps support thing. I really support therapy, so check it out. Do BetterHelp for supporting this video, supporting my video. Okay, now that we understand government contractors, let's get to this list of people who got rich. First up is Robert Stevens, the former CEO of a company called Lockheed Martin. It's a company that manufactures like this helicopter, the Black Hawk. They manufacture missiles, fighter jets, bombs. They manufacture a lot of stuff that we use in war. This company gets a lot of business from the Pentagon. Like in 2020 alone, this company got $75 billion worth of Pentagon contracts. I know that like when we get into billions, it's really hard to like know what that actually means. But just to put it in perspective, the entire budget of our foreign ministry, the State Department, totaled $44 billion. For the entire State Department, all of our diplomacy, $44 billion. And Lockheed Martin alone, this one company, got almost double that to make our weapons. 90% of Lockheed's revenue comes from the federal government. Their core business, the thing that keeps them afloat, is war and security. So Robert Stevens became the CEO in 2004. This was 3 years into the war in Afghanistan. And as the war intensified, so did Robert. And I know this because this is a public company, and all of the compensation for executives is public knowledge to all of us. You may have to dig through some boring documents like the Lockheed Martin proxy statements from the 2000 annual meeting of stockholders on April 27th, 2000, but you can find it. So let's see how Robert and his war business did in the 2000s. So before the war, in the late 90s, the CEO of Lockheed Martin was making around $2 million a year, if you include his salary and bonus. $2 million bucks. It's a pretty good compensation. Okay, but then the war started. Lockheed started to get a ton of contracts, started making more weapons, and look what happens to the CEO's compensation. His salary stays about the same, just over $1 million bucks, but his bonus now jumps up to $3.2 million, bringing his total compensation to around $5 million. This guy's making $5 million bucks. War's doing pretty good for him. Not bad. Let's jump 1 year later. It's now 2006. And Robert Stevens, the CEO of Lockheed Martin, brought in $18 million. Wait, what? From 2 million to 5 million to 18 million. Whoa, Robert is doing pretty darn good. Okay, but let's keep going. The year after that, Robert Stevens brings in $30 million in his compensation. 30 million. Sorry,
This is during
$31 million. $31 million. Non-equity incentive plan compensation, $8 million. Holy smokes. What? $30 million in compensation. I mean, if we were to like graph that, the war starts here. We're looking at something like this, and this. The war was a life-changing event for Robert Stevens, the CEO of Lockheed Martin. Okay.
All right. Are y'all taking this in? So
Oh, yeah.
the Afghan war escalated. And as the Afghan war escalated, this guy's income, ballooned.
Escalated.
Like, it escalated. Yes. I would like to see how the people, the Pfizer people and Moderna people, I'd like to see how their income ballooned over the last couple of years. So, but that's kind of
let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, that's kind of beside the point. But it's the same kind of thing,
No, it's the exact same thing. Our government is paying for every dose that anybody decides they want to get. They've already taken, saying, look, I got your money, and if you decide you want to go get, the hocus pocus and spin it all around, you can,
you can get it for free because we're paying for it. So the money going straight from the treasury straight to the pockets of these companies.
And who knows how much it really costs? But I know
change after the research. The research is what costs. But once the research is done, it's pennies.
But it ain't go through no research until it was in emergency action before the research. They had a few things that they tried to do beforehand, and they know that it was failure, but they still rolled it out.
Well, they had to do research to come up with the drug, is what I'm talking about. They had to do that.
I know. I hear what you're saying, but regardless, whatever, they're probably making 300 to 500% over what even just the original cost. So if it would cost them $2, $20, let's just say it cost them $20 to make, for each dose, it's gonna they're probably getting $200.
And I'm sure it's way wider than that. Let me play some more of this.
Okay, so that's our first guy. On to the next one. A guy named Stephen Orenstein. This guy's company, called Supreme Group, was chosen in 2005 to feed U.S. troops in Afghanistan, to provide all the food. I mean, when this guy got the contract, I'm sure the only thing that happened is that his eyes started flashing with money. Since he got the contract, Supreme Foods business increased 50-fold. Over the course of 6 years, the Defense Department paid Supreme $5.5 billion to deliver food to the troops. $5.5 billion. And it became 90% of his business. 90% of his company was providing food to troops in Afghanistan. I mean, talk about winning the lottery. But remember what I said about emergency funding and contractors? Orenstein realized that he could charge absurd amounts for the meals that he was providing to troops. And he knew that no one would notice because they were just throwing money at this war. The government contracts just kept coming no matter how pricey his meals were.
There's our beef ravioli.
Orenstein was like, dude, there's no adult in a child in it right now. Let's see how far I can take this. Not only was he charging insane prices for meals, but then he started to create fake subcontracting companies and started to win contracts that were for nothing. And the Pentagon would just pay him a ton of money for doing no work. And what did he do? He just pocket cash. He got super, super rich off of this, to the point where he became a billionaire. He got put on the billionaire list or whatever. But eventually he took it way too far and he got caught. And yes, we are now reading a Senate hearing from 2013 called Contracting to Feed U.S. Troops in Afghanistan. How did the U.S. Defense Department end up in a multi-billion-dollar billing dispute? I don't recommend you watch this hearing. It's very boring.
DLA had paid Supreme about $3 billion, including $1.6 billion for food and water and $1.4 billion for transportation and storage costs.
The numbers being thrown around in this hearing are insane. The Pentagon overpaid $1 million just in like transportation costs, which, as one congressperson said, that isn't a... To put in perspective, he says that amount would pay for nearly 100,000 children to have access to a Head Start program, which is a education program. But instead, this taxpayer money went into Orenstein's pocket. Nice one, Stephen. Think of the children. Come on. So what does it look like when someone gets punished for this? Well, here we are in this Senate hearing where the people who get all of this money without checking where it was going are being questioned. And when they asked what happened, they said things like this.
The contract management efforts that we applied to this did not keep pace with the changes that we were seeing in our requirements.
Let me translate that for you. What it's really saying is we weren't really paying attention because, war. According to this court document, Stephen eventually did have to pay up $389 million. But let's be honest, he got a little slap on the wrist, but the guy got rich off the effort.
He still got rich. The $389 million that they made him pay was a drop in the bucket to what he made.
It's like, oh damn! Now he's only a 600 millionaire. Poor him.
he's in the billions. I'm sure. It probably.
Well, like you said, he was made a billionaire. So minus 400,000, he's still a 600 millionaire. At worst.
Look,
poor him.
When I saw he charged like $20,000 for a what you call those Insta meals,
MRE,
the MRE for some mac and cheese.
Meals refused by the enemy.
Bro, I done been to some nice restaurants, and have I yet to pay and 20,000.
But you gotta remember, he made over, his company made over $5 billion. So that $389 million that he paid, he's still a billionaire.
But see, and that's the thing, he's not even like at all of the this is not
that's flipping dollars at the club.
No, listen, this is not even like feeding everybody in the army or the Marines. This is one base that he's feeding, within a let's just say
what we have in there,
whatever was on
25,000 troops was what we had there at the most.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, all of the mercenary troops that also eat chow and all that are also added to the number he had to serve. We're starting to stretch that five. We're starting to stretch that 5 billion pretty thin now. You know, maybe 50,000 people.
But you know, we're talking about preparing and delivering
and storage.
And storage, yes. Like he done set up other companies that pretty much did nothing but made money for this.
No, they roll in the fridges, they plug them in. Here you go. Here's $1 million.
Yeah. So on the other side of that, I have to think about how much the corruption has to be within the government, and then it's like just throwing money around.
Well,
like they have to know. They have to know
comes because people are choosing the companies rather than having the companies bid on it.
Or they own the company,
or they're invested in them.
Because that's the part that's the number 5 that when you get on that list.
He actually covers the fact that they're allowed to.
Yeah, that's what he says.
They're actually allowed.
He does say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Invest in the same companies that they are on. Like he's going to say
defense contractors.
So they're on the committee that makes the decisions on where these funds go, and they also own, they invest in the same company that the damn, where they get to decide where the money is going to go. So of course, what I'm saying is this corruption like crazy. They know where this money is going. It's going into their pocket. They're getting a piece of it too. Because it's coming, the taxpayers is where this money. It's like money coming out of thin air. Hey, it's billions and billions, trillions of dollars. Shit, can I get in on some of that?
You know?
Shit, I'm trying to get in on it too.
Shit. No, you ain't.
Hey, call me a horrible person. I'm gonna go buy some farmland.
You should.
If I get that kind of money, bro, I'm going to buy farmland.
I get a nice chunk. I'm gonna buy one of those missile silos and turn the ground above it into a farm.
Let me read a couple comments. Johnny Harris, he's the one who made this video. His caption, he says, "Thanks for being here, everyone. I say this at the end of the video, but I want to say it again here because I think it's important. This list is just a drop on the bucket. The list of who got super rich off the war is longer than any of us can fathom. My hope with this video is that it will help us better understand how the system works and what incentives are at play in the U.S. war economy." Thanks for watching. A couple of people's comments. Let me see. It says, "This is what journalism needs to go back to: unbiased, well-researched, and sourced reporting." Another one, it says, "Would like to see a similar analysis of the Ukraine-Russian war." Yeah, all that information, it ain't gonna come out for years and years.
Nope. It's still classified. It's still classified information until I'm not sure the number of years, but as long as the companies are ongoing and the contracts are ongoing, you can't get public records of it.
Let me read another comment. It says, "Exceptional research and reporting, what journalism used to be before they cut and paste content we receive now from print or electronic media sources, with rare exception." And let me read another one. It says, "As the war machine keeps turning," Ozzy. Another one, it says, "If this kind of corruption happens when U.S. has boots on the ground, so to speak, and it was easier to have some sort of accountability in theory, one can only imagine the kind of corruption happening in Ukraine right now. Obviously, we need to support Ukraine. I fully stand with Ukraine, and I know you do based on your videos, but maybe we can focus and try to address the current issue and hold people accountable as being efficient and having the aid to go to the right people." Oh, snap. Right people, instead of having corruption eat away big chunks of this money should be of utmost importance right now. Interesting that some of those hearings were done 5 to 10 years later. How about we start being proactive, not reactive? I'd love if you do some digging into the Ukraine aid, especially since it's nearly been a year, so some paper trail should exist. It's probably going to be hard. Let me play some more.
Afghan war, which is why he's on this list. Next up is this guy, Eric Prince. This is the guy we talked about at the beginning who was like charging $6,000 to fly people out of Afghanistan.
I don't think any human being who has a heart and soul would support efforts to profit off of people.
He's an ex-Navy SEAL who inherited a bunch of money and decided to start his own private security company called Blackwater. Remember what I said, private security company really means for. This guy trained military and police forces. In fact, he describes his mission for Blackwater as, quote, trying the national security for the postal service, privatize, make more efficient, get rid of red tape, et cetera, et cetera. Kind of a scary thought. Got his first contract in 2000. It was a small contract, $204,000, to help train the Navy for terrorist attacks. I know absolutely tragic American people, but an incredible business opportunity for Eric Prince and his FedEx for Army to mobilize their troops for this new kind of warfare. So they turned to Blackwater to help them. The U.S. hired Blackwater to come escort VIP diplomats. But wait, let's just get something clear. What are these guys? Are they troops? Or like, no, they're not like troops. I mean, look at these guys. But really, these guys are just like fancy security guards that
they look like vanilla ISIS.
Clearances sends them to war zones so that they can operate like soldiers under the jurisdiction of a private company. Mercenaries or anything, right? By 2007, the government had given Blackwater over contract. This little company that provides a private security force went from meager contracts of $200,000 to train troops to sending troops abroad to actually be in the war zone and getting $1 billion worth of taxpayer money within just a few years. As you can imagine, being to Army might lead to some thorny abuses of power. And in fact, in 2007, the guards of Blackwater were in Iraq, in addition to Afghanistan, and they opened fire on unarmed civilians.
Indiscriminate shootings by Blackwater guards leading to the deaths of civilians.
Square, after a car bomb had exploded a mile away, they killed 17 Iraqis and injured 20 more. Blackwater lost their contracts. It was an instance where there was some accountability. And yet, Eric Prince sold the company and came out on top. Another guy who got really rich. Those who opened fire on innocent civilians were tried and convicted. But then, before Donald Trump, do we have any faith in humanity? Next.
Pause. So, that's how cold-blooded these people are. Even though they use scapegoats, they always have somebody to take the heat, you know what I'm saying? And they, even go to jail and they get to walk, they leave out the back door with the cash. Just sell the company, change the name of the company. Everybody forgets about it. It's over, Yeah. He goes home with the money. And then what do y'all think about the part where he said that Donald Trump is the one who pardoned these guys who did this?
Well, that's where he lost the unbiased opinion part of his whole thing. But I know who he is, so.
What do you mean? How is he being unbiased?
Johnny Harris is anti-Trump.
Yeah, but
the guy here, he is anti-Trump. He threw the comment the way he did, no faith in humanity. That is a biased opinion. That is a bias where yes, it's a fact, but I'm going to say it in a way that takes a shot.
Well, let's take off the faith in humanity part and just stop at the part where Trump pardoned these guys. You know, that's the thing that actually happened, right?
Okay. So, yeah, he did. What do you come on? Get to the setup instead of leading me on.
My point is that, you know, that's fucked up, right? That's fucked up.
That he pardoned them.
Yeah. Shouldn't they be held accountable? Shouldn't somebody be held accountable? Those people
See,
died.
There's the list right there. Shouldn't somebody be held accountable?
It
Like
was
the
innocent
guys
people
that were
who
in
died.
charge of it and stuff like that. Not some guys that freaked out because, well, maybe they shouldn't have been there in the first place.
I'm not going to give them a
Because
pass.
they're sit there playing war games.
Yeah, I'm not. And I remember this story because it was.
Have you ever been in a firefight?
No, I haven't. But I remember
will
this
shut up
story.
then.
I remember this story
But
heavily.
then a bomb blew up right down the street. So I mean, these guys, they fearing for their life. So I mean, I'm not saying that's right, but when you at war, bro, you just shit happens, bro. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, I don't think there's a lot of humanity or humanitarian efforts that go into when there's a war, man. Especially
Well,
a car blows up right down the fucking street from you,
Well-
bro. You over here, you trying
Well,
to
the
protect. You got
professionals that
people
was
around
involved in this felt like these guys did wrong for them to try and convict them. I'm sure they saw way more evidence than we did.
Scapegoats. No, those guys were scapegoats.
I agree with
Bro,
that.
that shit happens. That's just like if you're a soldier
And
in
they
the
shouldn't have been.
military.
They shouldn't have been locked up in the first place. So
Yeah,
Trump
yeah,
letting them
because-
out does not mean that, you know, he's like, oh well, he's abetting, aiding and abetting criminals. No, like you get enough information to say, oh damn, this court case was truly a fluke, and somebody's probably been appealing it and whatever for however many years.
I
And he's
remember.
like,
I remember when this happened, and these guys were doing all kinds of shady shit. This is just one of the ones that blew up in their face and got media attention, and that's the reason why they got in trouble. They was doing all kinds of shady shit over there. Innocent
Well, you
people
know,
got
this-
killed.
My
And y'all
problem-
like, it's okay?
Let me ask you this here.
No,
Let me ask
I'm
you
not
this
saying
here.
it's
If
okay.
you if you a soldier, okay, and you're in the area, you're in imminent danger, bombs are going off around you. You know, you trying to get the fuck out of there and get back with your get with your convoy, well, whoever you're supposed to be with, you know what I'm saying, and you
and
let
look-
off a few rounds to protect your ass so that you can hop on the fucking helicopter.
They
that's
did
waiting.
more than let off a few rounds. They did an offensive, and not only that, these guys are independent contractors. They weren't They weren't soldiers. They weren't.
Look.
They wasn't on a mission.
Do y'all remember Oliver North, right? Oliver North and the Contra scandal. I know Doc remembers it, but however, this thing went on for this was like one of the biggest cases
Oh yeah.
that happened, and it was on TV and this, that, and the other. And he's a captain or I don't know. He held a pretty high office, but bro, this was trading of guns and drugs between two countries,
I switched
and
over
they pretty much like Oliver North because of his position. He was the
strong.
fall guy, so it didn't mean like he received orders from above him. He's completing orders that he's given, but now he's got to be somebody. Somebody's got to take the fall. Those guys had to take the fall for somebody that was even bigger, that was giving them orders. Because regardless if it's a private company or not, they are receiving orders. And because they're following orders doesn't mean that they're the biggest cause of the problem.
I agree that these guys were used as a scapegoat, and I also agree that the higher up should be held accountable. But innocent people died, complete civilians, people that have nothing to do with nothing. So they should. What's the justice for these guys? So they did an investigation and found that these guys did some wrong, and took them to jail.
So then they shouldn't be held accountable. Trump just steps in there and says, boom, nah, I don't want these dudes to go to jail.
You're assuming that everything we just discussed that you agreed to is false.
I just listened to him sit there and give every reason why they got pardoned, and then turn around and say they shouldn't have been.
No, because they was wrong from all the way. They was wrong all kinds of ways. They didn't have to be there. They chose to be there. They was over there making money. They wanted to make money, and they wanted to be in a wartime situation. Yes, shit got fucked up, but they made their choices to be in that position to do that job.
I hear what you're saying, but just because you're in that job and you're doing your job by following orders, you don't go to jail for that.
They didn't get specific orders to do an offensive based on some explosion that they wanted to do an offensive on. They made those decisions on their own.
This lets me know how much like y'all don't realize, y'all think that just because you heard it on TV, the shit that's exactly what happened. Like a lot of these people
I remember this specifically because this was a big deal.
You remember them lying to you specifically. That's all I'm saying. It's like, yeah, you heard it on the news, but who's to say that it's just some bullshit story to tell people so that it can be okay for people to accept and be, because
there's whole documentaries on this particular thing. Whole documentaries on this. Those guys were over there doing all kinds of crazy, shady shit. Like all of the shit, like they were just doing shady shit left and fucking right. And this one blew up in their face and they got in trouble for it. Yes, they should be held accountable. People died. Y'all don't care about the death of these people who were completely innocent? Like that doesn't matter. What is the justice for them people and their families?
Bro, I hear what you're saying, but I don't trust them that much to say that it's all boiled down to these two guys. No, it's corruption happening at every angle and at everybody involved, because even the fact that they're in Afghanistan we knew was a fluke. You remember the whole 9/11? Like that's the whole reason why they end up in Afghanistan.
Yes, and I agree. So then freaking George W. Bush should be in trouble for this.
Yeah.
So
he's
forth.
He's a war criminal.
But that doesn't give. But that doesn't give these guys a pass.
Bro, I'm not saying it necessarily gives them a pass, but my whole thing is because they were let out, nobody else did the crime. No, nobody else did any time, even though they had people that was above them that was allowing it, or whatever happened. They found a reason why they shouldn't be locked up and they let them go. What about that part?
The reason why
you think Trump just all of a sudden is like, all right, you know what, you guys, y'all look cute, y'all come on out of jail. Like, I mean, you don't think that there was some further discussion on why these guys don't deserve to be locked up?
Well, because Trump, along with the rest of the administrations, along with the Democrats, along with the U.S. government, didn't care about the lives of those innocent people that were in Afghanistan. Clearly,
okay, and
their lives was worth nothing.
And if you bro, I mean, a lot of them. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean that's kind of how war goes. Like, I mean, some people's lives are gonna be expendable. They're not,
and that's okay. That's justice.
But no, I'm not saying, bro. Nobody's saying that it's justice, but we know how politics work. We know how the system works because, all right, just recently, because we made such a big cry about wanting the basketball chick to come back from Russia because she fucked up, and we end up having to sign over one of the biggest arms dealers from
and everybody
selling shit to Africa. Okay, look, you do realize that only 4 of the 5 people that were convicted over that were pardoned, right?
Okay.
The officer in charge was the highest ranking was not pardoned. It was the
Okay.
rank and file that he pardoned.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if that makes a difference to you or not, but you know, I mean, I understand 45 got mentioned and it doesn't matter. It was wrong.
Exactly. That's the part. Without
Is it
without
right
saying it.
that we pardon that
Well, he didn't
arms
have to
dealer
jump.
and known?
He didn't have to
Is it
jump in
right that we
there.
pardon?
He didn't have to jump in there.
Yeah, but
I'm
is
not
it
giving
right
him a
that we
pass.
pardon that? Is it right that we pardon a known arms dealer and murderer for a
They had a whole
WNBA
they had
basketball
a
player?
whole movie made up about this dude.
Of course it is, because it's 46, the potato president.
And that was a great movie too. I suggest anybody that didn't see it, go see it. Lord of War.
Yes.
So is that
Great
is
movie.
that a great?
Nicolas
Was that a great?
Cage.
Yes.
Was that
Say,
great? Was
you
that
mean
great
Warlord?
about?
No, I mean Lord of War. I like my way better.
I love that part. Yes. Hell
That
yeah.
movie is
I
great.
like it.
I could watch that. I've seen it like 3 times. I could totally watch it again because
But
it
nobody's
reveals
answering my fucking
One
question.
of
Is
bit
it
that
okay
accents I
what
can
they
do.
did for that?
But see, but that's the thing I'm talking about as far as politics and what people make noise about, and you know who's actually behind trying to get them free, and then because Trump made a political decision to say, all right, we're gonna let these people go. We didn't have no problem with the Lord of War coming out of prison behind a female basketball player that did some stupid shit she knew she wasn't supposed to do to begin with. Like, I mean,
yeah, and I don't agree with that at all. But bringing up Lord of War does fit with this because it's all about making money, and that's what he was explaining in that movie. You know, don't care about who died, and he don't care about which side it was, or whose side, or which government, or whatever the hell. You know, I'm selling guns to whoever the hell gonna buy them, and the people are gonna die. Okay, oh well, I'm finna leave out of here with this check. I don't give a damn. So it's fucked up. It's just fucked up all the way around. And it's also fucked up that Trump pardoned these guys. That's what I'm saying. Another
No,
part of fucked
he
up.
left the man that gave the orders in jail.
Let's play some more.
Next up,
it's impossible for him to be
these
fair.
two guys. The movie I haven't seen, but I want to.
I saw that
Excuse me,
movie.
emergency. Sorry. Don't worry. I have to go
I
first.
saw that
I'm
one
American.
But really,
I love that
best
movie
thing
too.
out there is rolling were ages 25 and 21 when they started an ammunition company. Hey,
I'm investing in the
big
guy.
with
I'm investing in one
taxpayer
of his
money
companies
in
now.
contracts, and they were going to supply the Afghan National Army with guns and ammunition. One of these guys, David, was just a few months earlier a massage therapist, and then it was like, I'm going to have a little change of career of guns and ammunition to the federal government so they can fight a war in Afghanistan. These guys got super rich off of this.
David didn't.
Fancy life with expensive apartments in like Miami. But what they were doing here was buying ammo from China and then selling that, which is in arms like trading. They eventually got caught, pleaded guilty, and one of them was sentenced to jail. Case of like guys got rich and then they got caught and they actually got punished, which didn't happen to Supreme Food or Eric. Like when you're like a 8-year-old kid, you don't have a lot of money and influence, so you can't like weasel your way out of accountability. But what this story shows you is
4 years in jail for $300 million
of endless money within the
I can do
Pentagon.
that.
The massage therapist who had never owned.
I'm telling you, and he's saying that they actually got punished. The dude probably just did his 4 years and got out and fucking. I'm sure he had money stashed. Come on,
David.
Without a doubt.
The dude David. Okay, he didn't get rich off of that shit. The guy who owned the business is the one who got rich, and they wasn't buying the ammunition and the guns from China. They were buying it from some other country that had all of these bullets from China from way back in the day. And the thing that made the bullets illegal is because of what China was doing to people back in the day. The sanctions that America put on China made it to where America could not buy Chinese ammunition. And the
Because they
dude
bought they
David, the dude David, he was just a worker within the company. He did not get rich off of it. He tells a whole story on the Concrete podcast. He did not get rich off of it. The other guy who actually owned the company got rich off of it. He got fucked out of the deal, had to go to jail. And like, so he didn't get rich. So, and he's saying that he's explaining this shit all wrong. And then on top, like I say, man,
Yeah, but look, I would say this points to corruption again, because even in the movie, the general who was getting the buying the weapons, and he was saying he didn't care where the damn bullets come from. He said, "I need some damn bullets. I don't give a damn where the hell they came from." You know?
well, see, the
Please,
general,
please
the
don't
dude that
use
was
a
buying.
movie to argue real world shit going on.
That's
Okay.
what I'm saying, because the movie is not it's a depiction of
Parallel,
it.
yes, but not
It's
to argue.
parallel, but it's not exactly what fucking happened and how they got caught. Okay, they actually got caught because the owner of the company, the arms dealer that was based out of Miami, he got greedy and didn't want to pay this packaging company to reship this stuff. And I think it was Armenian people or something. Their mobs got involved with it. And so to keep them
Oh
off of
God,
his
don't fuck with
ass,
Armenians.
yeah, to keep them off of his ass, they cut the other dude out and they started repackaging the shit. The mob boss workers started repackaging their shit. And when they cut the other guy out, he got pissed off and he called the U.S. and told the U.S. what was going on.
And that was in the
So
movie.
the movie, but the depiction of
No,
the movie.
it was based on a lot of real stuff, but you still can't, use a based on real things to, as examples.
I like that part of the movie. Just go back to the movie again. I'm sorry, but I like that part of the movie where just because they didn't pay that guy and they was fucking that guy over, he snitched.
And that's what happens.
And that's what brought their whole fucking thing down. All they had to do was pay this guy, and they was making all this kind of money, and they didn't even want to pay this guy.
Well,
But you
that's
know
like
what, man,
that
I
cheap
really
ass
think,
boss
like,
that lost
we
the
go back-
Lockheed contract because he fired me.
Yeah.
He lost
I
all
think,
that
like,
money.
The thing that we need to start doing, because I hear a lot of shit that's out there. Oh, this is true. That's true because it's on the internet. I done my research on the internet. Like, man, like how this guy is presenting this shit. He's got real
I am a
receipts and
scholar
stuff
of
on this
Google
part.
University.
Yeah, and it's like Google will fucking mislead you down a
Hey.
rabbit hole, and everybody will think you're such a dumb like.
Look, man, I'll tell you, my Google foo is strong. I will put it up against most anything, and you can see I'm pulling stuff from both sides. But even so, there's been a couple of things I've sent that's like, I fucked up doing that.
Yeah, we're
But
gonna be wrong. We're not gonna be right all the time. There's
Exactly.
so much confusion and so many lies, so many smoke screens. We're not gonna be right all the
A
time.
matter of fact, if you are right all the time, I'm gonna be even more fucked up weird about you.
Yeah,
Because that just ain't right.
Something ain't right. Something ain't right. If you're right all the time.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to be right as many times as I can be.
Absolutely. And I also reserve my option to change my mind and grow my decisions as I get more information and as I age.
And when you're wrong, you have to be able to say, look, I was wrong about that.
Absolutely.
I came upon better information. My conclusion was wrong. We got to be able to do that. Our media,
I think that's I think
Well, see,
immediately,
I
as
don't
soon as
come
you
to
realize it.
conclusions. Because a conclusion means it's over. My mind is never over. My thoughts are never over. It's never my mind is never completely shut. So I don't come to conclusions. I just choose my favorite ideas.
Yeah, I always say based on what I understand, it's this, and this, and that.
Or I think.
Yeah.
But 20 minutes
Let's
later,
play a little bit
that's
more
it.
because I think the ending of this is the best part of this video, where he explains how the government and he points out a couple of people and talks about how they have direct benefits from this crazy shit going on. Let me play some more.
Yeah.
Owned a gun before, started an ammunition and gun companies for it, just like a gold rush. Okay, so those are the war dogs. Next up, we have this guy, Fahim Hashimi, one of the several Afghan nationals who got part of this group called the 9/11 Millionaires. In the early days of the Afghan war, there was huge need for local fixers and translators. The people who got in early helping out US forces got really savvy to how the US was operating. And they quickly realized that they could provide a bunch more local services and make a ton of money. That eventually turned into like a media corporation with like TV stations and a construction company and even an airline. His company started racking in $100 million in government contracts. There were a bunch of Afghans who got super rich riding on the coattails of all of this money being poured into the country. Which it's like, good for them. Their country's been torn apart by outside superpowers for decades. Let them at least get something out of it, for heaven's sake. Next up, we have our very own Congress. Yeah, heads are like this, but they can still get rich off of war. You can buy stocks in defense companies like Lockheed Martin, and a lot of them do. These members of Congress and their spouses hold between $2 million and $6.7 million worth of stocks in top companies. And it's not partisan. Of the 36 House members who hold stock in military contracts, 20 are Republican and 6 almost in half. I mean, let's get into the details here. Like, which of the congressmen have the most money invested in defense companies? Good question. Of who's getting rich off war is Kevin Hearn, a Republican from Oklahoma, who owns over $1 million in stock, $1,000 alone in Honeywell, which is an aerospace contractor that Congress really seems to love. And notice how well their stock, especially since when Obama sent a bunch of new troops to Afghanistan. I mean, this is a lawmaker who has to give approval when we go to war, and he stands to gain if we do. But wait, the conflict of interest gets worse when you look at somebody like Senator Gary Peters, a Democratic senator from Michigan, who is a member of the Armed Services Committee, which is the committee that authorizes the Pentagon's budget. Here's his financial disclosure. He's invested in a lot of things, including Raytheon Technology Corporation. Raytheon is a major government contractor for wartime things. This guy gives money to the Pentagon to do war things with private contractors, and he is invested in the private contractors. In July, this guy's committee voted to increase defense spending by $24 billion, which is more than President Biden even proposed. So in very direct terms, this guy is voting to put more money in his pocket. That is how our system works. Here's another financial disclosure of a senator who's on a committee that deals with cybersecurity and protection. She holds stock in 6 defense companies, with most of her money being invested in an IT contractor. Do you get it? IT contractor that she is invested in. Cybersecurity committee that she uses to vote to give money to the thing she's invested in. It's just like, come on. Oh. Okay, so that's our list. And let me be clear that this is not the exhaustive list of everyone who got rich. There are so many more people who got rich. There are so many more people who abused the system. We will never know their names. We will never hear about them because they didn't get caught. In the end, the Pentagon spent $14 trillion $14 trillion. Between 30 and 50% of that went to private companies, military contractors, companies that give huge payout, huge compensation to the top leaders. That's like $5 trillion worth of taxpayer money going to fatten the pockets of these corporations. And for what? What did we get? We now know that it didn't do much for this country and its people. 20 years later, the country is falling back to where it started. But what it did do is it made these people really, really, really rich.
What happened?
Has Lockheed Martin ever come under any investigations in the government? Are they checking and balancing their books to make sure they're not overcharging the government?
Probably not.
Well, you
Probably
remember
not.
they lost a lot of government contracts when Obama basically gutted NASA, because most of their stuff was aerospace, going to space, as well as the jets.
I hope the stock
They lost
market
a lot of
crashes.
money with that.
I hope the stock market crashes and all these damn Congress people lose all their damn money, and that'll be a little bit of
Well,
adjustments.
that's not, that part's not gonna happen. It's all
You have no clue what that would do.
I'm just saying. I
And
mean,
with that, I'm gonna go take a pee because I need to relieve myself.
potty break for Doc. I freaking yeah, man. Like I say, I wouldn't feel any kind of way at all. You know, if it crashed and they lost and all these politicians just lost their damn money.
I don't think any of us are really ready for what would happen if that really did happen. But
Yeah, well, we would be fucked up, dude. And then you think about all of these people that's got money invested in retirement and shit. Like, bro, people would lose probably every fucking thing if that happened.
and then that would be just more suicides.
More mass shootings.
Well, I don't know if it all necessarily mass shootings, but for those types of that type of harm to somebody, a lot of times, yeah. I mean, some people, yeah, may not want to take it out on themselves. They might want to take it out on somebody else. So, yeah, I guess we could throw that into the equation, mass shootings. But
Be more of what this group that says Back to Blue says. That this is clearly suicide by cop.
yeah, damn.
Let me read some comments. It says, our system is just as broken as a lot of countries we point fingers at. The more information and people like this come to light, the better. Thank you for real journalism.
It's
Broken.
It's even more brokenness.
Oh, yeah. Extra broken.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me read some more. It says, as an Afghan, this kind of exposure isn't closure, but recognition of the people who benefit off of the country. Thank you. Another comment, it says, this channel is the perfect reason and example why people don't need corporate mainstream TV anymore. Good job. Another comment, it says, Johnny once again skirts meddling close to class consciousness. I'm not sure what he means with that one. Let me read some more. It says, this guy really seems like he wants to open everybody's eyes to the fact that we're all getting boned, tricked by politicians. Please don't stop. Another comment, it says, I died when you said next up is our very own Congress. Another comment, it says, we are all here about the war machine and military complex, but this is such a good, easy to understand look into what it actually looks like and operates. Another comment,
Yeah,
says,
he
watch to
really
the
does.
end.
I have to agree real quick. he does do a good breakdown of what we're saying the military industrial complex that is taking our money is. He did a really
Yeah.
good job of that.
And that's the reason why I wanted to cover this, because we have been talking about debt and we've been talking about it for a couple of days, because that's what, and the fight is going to continue in Congress. They're talking about debt, the debt ceiling, and the fight to not let it, go,
Well,
it's going to.
you have to understand, 45 pulled us out of NATO. By doing that, he reduced military industrial complex spending by almost a little more than $2.5 billion on a regular daily basis.
And that's a good thing he did. He also pulled us out of Afghan. So I give it.
He was doing his damnedest to stop spending on the military industrial complex and try to get that money back to pay off debts and start bringing businesses back.
And I got to give him that.
And I don't like the guy, but I really think that his intention was to rebuild the middle class.
But and
okay,
I can't.
well, the thing is, capitalism, all this stuff everyone's worried about and all this, it requires a middle class.
Yeah. I don't even know why they're crazy as hell. They're shooting themselves in the foot.
And
they need people.
Ever since the destruction of the middle class began, shit's been getting worse.
I agree. They need these people to be able to buy the stuff that they sell. I don't know why it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. The same thing with the pay, the way that they pay people. Like if they pay people just enough to be able to pay their rent and utilities, then they ain't gonna have no money to spend on anything else.
Well,
So
a lot of that has to do with the individual states jacking up property tax.
Yeah.
We're going to keep a low sales tax, but we're going to make these really high property taxes. So now all these people that have property and are trying to rent it have to cover their property taxes and all of that too. And that's part of this whole property tax. I've been looking into this for a couple of days and things like that. I was going to present it a little better after I find some more information. But,
I want to focus on that number. That number that the dude said in the video at the end where he was like, he said trillions. What was the number? It's trillions of dollars, going into this,
Trillion. Think of trillions, man. That's 100 Bill Gates.
And I can't wrap my mind around that.
100 Elon Musks.
I can't wrap my mind around that much money. But we
that might as well be Google dollars.
Like, yeah, I mean,
oh, I know.
Or make up a word like figures biggles or something. Freaking but that's enough to have every school in the United States, look like the freaking the palace in the Buckingham Palace.
See, the problem that I have ever trying to go into government or stuff and being Republican is I believe that the military budget should be cut by 20%, and it should all come out of the extra budget, not the actual military. I think that the actual military should be in charge of feeding the actual military.
Yeah, I agree with that. They should have enough money.
And these private companies and stuff like that, yes, there is a place for them. Let them protect food convoys, non-essential. Well, that's actually kind of essential, but let them do the non-essential backup work and actually back up the troops.
Yeah.
But they're using them to do things that, okay. Another reason they have to be there is because the American military can't do certain things.
Right.
Go after certain people.
Right. And that's what I was about to say. They use them to do their dirty work, the stuff that it gives them a plausible deniability. It gives them a little buffer area where they can say that it wasn't us that were doing this, not the American government. It was private contracts who were doing this stuff. Like, so whenever they do some horrible stuff, some really shady stuff, it's private contractors, you know, that did it. And then the government could say, you know, hey, that wasn't us. That was these guys. They were some bad actors, and we got rid of them or whatever. We ended our contracts with them.
We put 5 of them in jail.
So the scapegoat, you know,
and we let 4 of them out because one of them was the one that was fucking in charge.
Scapegoat. Let me read a couple more comments. It says, we all hear about the war machine and military complex, but I read that one. Let me read another one. It says, watched it to the end, never fails to piss me off. I already knew the system is corrupted, but still find it infuriating every time I happen across a video like this. Nice work providing critical information to the masses. Another comment, it says, not only can Congress people trade stocks, they can insider trade without repercussions. It's absurd. Another comment, it says, if education and food security was ever viewed as national security issue, we could keep our country strong instead of dying from the inside. Because that's why I covered this, is because I feel like all this money, random people getting rich, money getting lost, money for bombs and tanks, you know, this money could be going to the American people who really need it. We could build schools and roads, and we can have health care. They say we don't have the money for health care. What about a fraction of this $1 trillion that's going over there?
No, we can't start getting health care for all until we handle how come someone with insurance gets a $100,000 bill and someone without insurance gets a $7,000 bill.
Same thing.
That we have to address that before we can address healthcare for all.
Yeah, but I think that just points to the same thing. It's the corruption, you know, the money getting funneled to these CEOs, CFOs, these damn.
You're the one throwing out, hey, corruption. You're trying to label it and all that. I'm just saying, let's look at this.
We need to look at it.
Let's find out why. Let's get this answered, and then, hey, somewhere between 100,000 and somewhere between 7,000, we can come up with maybe 15, 20,000.
Well, I've
done is a insurable level that all the friggin' public can maybe afford.
I've done whole shows on this, and there's a cracked video that breaks it down really good. I think I sent it to y'all a couple of weeks ago. The one about the insurance goblin. Did you see that? Oh my God, it's hilarious. But it breaks it down really good, and it has to do with the bureaucracy of the whole thing, and that's the reason why those fees are the way that they are, because of the insurance goblin. I'll find it and send it to y'all again.
An average doctor spends anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million plus in malpractice insurance alone, and they have to pay for that.
And this could be fixed, but there's no will to do it because the politicians are getting paid by the pharmaceutical industrial complex.
Oh, we're not even talking about the pharmaceutical industrial. We're just talking about the hospital situation and insurance right now. I'm not even going into the fact that why the flip are we seeing all these drug commercials on TV and turning our doctors into dealers?
And their hands are tied.
No,
Their hands are,
the doctors aren't. The doctors are given money to go ahead and get you on this stuff.
yeah, but a lot of it is
Side
is-
effects up to and including death, by the way.
They have to fight. They have to fight with the insurance companies to even, you know.
Well, no, they have to fight with insurance companies to be able to make enough to pay that freaking malpractice insurance, keep this up and going, have a nurse or two, and this is just a mom and pop.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if they want to prescribe a better diet and exercise,
well, here's the thing.
pharmaceutical, the
The
insurance
mom and
company is
pop
going to
person.
say, no, you can't do that.
No, let's say Dahuda Pro. Okay, you're a mom and pop. I'm going to give you $200 every time you prescribe Lahudadop. So on insurance, Lahudadop, you can get it for $20. But the insurance pays $2,000. That's the problem going on right now. You know, you're paying, the insurance is paying $2,000. If you don't have insurance, you can get that little app on the phone and get it for $100, or you can pay $20 with your copay, along with the $200 a month if you're lucky for your insurance. I don't have health insurance. I haven't been able to afford health insurance except for one out of the last 30 years.
I don't either, bro. I can't afford it. I just go. You know where I go to the doctor? I go to this place. It's really for like immigrants and stuff, and they just pay flat. You pay flat rates for everything. You pay your flat rate to see the doctor. You pay a flat rate for whatever procedures.
I just don't go.
Well, and that sucks. And so, but I take my daughter to the same place. You know, it's a really cool
Well, man,
place.
can
It's a
I actually-
community.
Can you guys? I hear y'all say like y'all don't have insurance, can't afford it. Like, have y'all ever thought about going work somewhere where they will actually give you health insurance and you only got to pay a portion each paycheck? Like,
Bro,
because both of you
What
guys
what
work in the
job will
insurance
they
world.
pay? What job will they pay me for that I can do that? All I do is talk shit and bring food to tables.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it just, I mean, you're a pretty knowledgeable guy, Doc. I mean,
But I
I
don't have any
understand that you're
paper.
up.
I don't have
I
any papers on the wall.
Well, I mean, that doesn't. Well, I mean, that matters depending on what you're trying to do or
It
something
matters
like
on
that.
when
But
you're trying to get health insurance.
And
what I'm saying is like I'm talking about job wise. Like I'm sure there's even though you're up in age or whatever, there's companies out there that'll still hire you all day long, and that's gonna pay you a pretty good wage. You know, and
I
you can
can't
have
find
health
them,
insurance.
or I'd be working for them.
I'm telling you, Deuce, it's not as easy as you're thinking, bro. And you know, and even if I do, I could get one of those jobs, but then the amount that I'm gonna be making after insurance and everything, I'm not gonna be able to cover my bills, and I'm not gonna be able to go to school, and I'm not gonna be able to buy my kids shoes.
Bro,
But I'll have health care.
Bro, that's not true.
I'm
That's
telling
not
you,
true,
Deuce,
bro.
y'all don't get it because y'all looking at it from your own personal point of
Right.
view.
I'm
you
working
know?
40 to 46 hours a week. I make $213 an hour for my pay.
And I
But-
want to be here for my kids, bro.
But
did y'all
I'm
watch?
bringing home $15 on an hour on bad weeks.
Did
and
y'all see my
$20 to
Instagram?
$30 an hour on good weeks.
Today was Kenzie's birthday, and I got to be there.
you know, for her birthday.
Fuck yeah for that.
And be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? Part of the reason why I live my life the way that I do is so that I can be there for my kids, you know, and at the events. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not judging you or Pat on the way that y'all go about y'all's life, but I made a different decision. I made the decision that I wanted to be here present. And then I don't even have the same options that, especially like you, Deuce, you have a wife. Anaya's mom passed away, bro. I don't have.
I get all of that.
I don't.
I get all of that. I was just saying, like, I mean, I know you're in, like, I just think about like the shit that you're in school for. You could probably get a pretty damn good job, like for the city of Houston, you know, working in some type of field and probably make pretty good money, you know. And that's one of the things, like the city of Houston is like, you're a college student. They're gonna work with you. They're gonna work around your schedule.
Now I have another position too that I have to explain to you, that I can't go and work a counter job or a sorting job or a material job or something like that. If I don't have human interaction, I'm going to end up being a mass shooter.
And I haven't graduated yet, so that's an issue. I would love to have nights, weekends, holidays, 401k, healthcare, dental. I'd love to have that shit, bro. And it's a huge amount of us. That's what, and I was telling Pat, arguing with Pat about this recently. It's like, this is the majority of United States citizens are in the same boat that I'm in. And then Pat was like, they're just all lazy. And I'm like, come on, man. The majority of United States citizens are lazy. It's the system, bro. It's not that we don't want those things. It's difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's not, you know, you have to make sacrifices. Like you guys made sacrifices. Y'all made your decisions. Like Pat basically lives on the road. That's why his ass is rich. And I'm not judging him. I'm not judging him for that.
I had the option of doing that. My brother did that for 30 years. He worked for Stevens and several other places as a reefer driver. But I tried it. I was out there for 3 months, and
everything ain't for everybody. Some people ain't built for that. And for me, I'm a family man. And
I got to be around people, or I'm going to lose my freaking mind.
My child doesn't have a mom. I have to be here. I have to be here to make sure she's good. If
you could do like courier services, work for like.
Okay, Chaka, calm down. No one is challenging you directly. Speak your mind, but not.
Yeah.
We're not attacking you about it.
I feel like I'm about to tear up right now because
that's why I'm getting that. That's why I'm saying nobody is attacking anybody. Remember, I'm in the same place you are, man. I've had 3 teeth fall out my freaking head. I mean, shit. Remember when I first started broadcasting? I had all my teeth. I'm losing them.
I have some condition. I have a medical condition.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I don't have the dental.
Let me explain.
Okay.
I have a medical condition that I know is there, and I can't freaking find it or whatever. And I've taken all these tests, and I can't fucking find what the fuck it is because I don't really have the health care to do all of the tests that needs to be done to really freaking, and then the doctors that I go to are just, I did like urinalysis. I did all these tests, and they said I came out clean and that I was fine. And I know that's not the case, man. That's not the case. It's going to cost me $10,000 to do the tests that I need to do to fucking find out what the fuck is really going on. And I don't have that, bro. I don't have that.
I make too much to get the Harris County Gold Card, but not enough to get health insurance.
Exactly. I'm fall right in the middle. I make just enough money to get no fucking help, but not enough money to fucking pay for the shit that I need. you know, and then I have to make the decisions to be there for my child. I don't know what's gonna happen to her, or you know, if I'm gone a week or 2 weeks or whatever the hell, I don't know what's going on with her, bro. And they now have no help. I don't have nobody to rely on to make sure
No,
that
I'm
she's
not
good.
telling you. I would
And you
never
don't have
tell
the
you to go.
finances to take that 2 weeks off to
I
take
wouldn't
care of
tell
your
you.
health.
I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't tell you to go out here and do what I do. Like doing what I do is not for everybody, and that's why like when people ask me about it, I tell them the truth. I be 100 and upfront with them. You know, I just and I want to say this. I apologize if I sound insensitive or if that's how you feel. Like I'm not being insensitive. I understand your situation.
I wish I could have health care. I pray
I
for it
want to
every
see
day,
you
bro.
I want to see like everybody be in a place where that I'm not saying your life will be wonderful or you'll be rich or this or that, but I just want to see people being able to somewhat take care of themselves. Like I make good money, bro. Like I grossed over $100,000 last year, but I'm the only one that brings any money pretty much into my home. And with everything, the cost of everything, it's like I don't make any money. You feel me? So I understand where y'all coming from, bro. I just like, you know, I hear you say no insurance, and then that's the first thing before even thinking about you. I think about Anaya, and I'm like, okay, she's at that age, like she's getting ready, like so
I
you
pay
don't have to be paying for all of this
I
shit.
pay
At
out of
least the
pocket
insurance will
for
pay for her
everything.
physicals, all of her
I I,
examinations,
I
and
recently had to take her. She started track, and I had to take her for a physical, and I had to pay for that. And I think it was like it was over $100 for
yeah, man.
for that. I
But
pay out of
man,
pocket for all that
I
shit.
just, I mean, I know you got a lot of shit going on. You're working, you're going to school, you're doing this, but man,
It's like 200 and something dollars. I
I
don't remember.
I personally think with this podcast and what you have, bro, like try to start making some merch, whether it's t-shirts, lanyards, and I know that costs money. I understand that, and you spend a lot of money on this show with no help. But man, if you could do that, like, like the different flea markets and shit, maybe you can set up a little booth. I don't know, bro. You could just like maybe word of mouth, just start, you know, fuck, man. If I could get your logo deal, I would go and have a few T-shirts and some hats and shit made. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a T-shirt wearing motherfucker. I love T-shirts. I throw on T-shirts and jeans and some kicks real quick. But like to kind of get that shit out there, man. Like even if I could get some stickers made to put on the back windshield of my car, like just try to, But if we can start selling merch, man, because that I think that'll bring in some extra money for you, man. If we can, and like you don't have to spend a whole lot on t-shirts, bro. You go right there on Harwin, man. I mean, I don't know what we got to do to see like, but you don't even have to have a wholesaler's license to go in there and
You
buy
don't
these
even have to have
t-shirts.
physical inventory of t-shirts.
Yeah, just when people want a t-shirt, you make
You
them
could
some
post them
t-shirts.
up here through Teespring and a couple of other sites, and they will pop up on your page. And it's like King Chaka merch, and it'll go there, and it's called POD, print on demand. And they will just print the shirt and mail it out. It costs $25 to them or $20 to them. You get 8, something like that, $6 or $8.
Yeah,
Minding
man, and just
you,
think.
they do everything except they literally do everything. Buy the shirt, print it, mail it, and then send you a check for whatever your cut is.
Yeah, and just think, man, if you selling 3, 4, 5 shirts a day, that $8 or $9 that's coming to you, just let that shit sit in the account like it's not even there, and just let it build up. And when you get enough, take a little bit out. Because I mean, I don't want to see I don't want to see nobody struggling, bro. Like I don't want to see you struggling, nobody. Um, and that's why when I was on an operator and I was making all that big money being on operator, bro, you know me. I'm not stingy. I help whoever the fuck I could help. I
Yeah.
gave and gave and gave and never. I don't look for shit back. If you ask me for something, if you say, "Can I borrow?" and I'll pay you back by this time, and you don't pay me back by, I'm not looking for it because if I had it to give it, I gave it. Like fuck it, you know what I'm saying?
I
Like
make
it is what it
I
is.
make pretty good money doing what
Never
I do.
never loan anything you can't afford to give.
I make pretty
That
good
that is a
money.
rule I live by.
So just the way my setup is now, when I just pay out of pocket for everything related to the doctors because I
Hey
can't
man,
afford the insurance.
and the healthcare is
And
expensive on that market, but hey, there's a doctor that I go to. There. This is a network. They're all over Houston. It's called My CHN, and they have their family clinics, and they have not only do
why
they
don't I
have doctors, they
listen
have
to
they
it?
have a dental. They have a dental. They got specialists, and all of this shit. By you not having no insurance, man, your income is not that high. You can go in there, and they will get you and Anaya under doctors, under dentists, under whatever specialist you need, and
The,
it's
the,
like it'll be like flat rated. They
and
have pharmacies at every
the, the
location.
the place I go to is like that. It's like that, and
Well, I'm
they
just
even
saying it's
give.
like a network of people, like they have like, say for instance, you need, I don't know, just say you deal with rheumatoid arthritis. Okay. They have rheumatologists within their network that
Yeah,
you're
they
already paying a monthly fee for insurance to them, right? You're paying, I don't know, for you and I at $50 a month. Well, you'll be able to go there and have like no copay. You know what I'm
well, the
saying?
place I go to is like that. They have all the specialists. It's just not no monthly payments. You just go to the doctor when you need to, and you pay for flat rates. They pay you to, they charge you the bottom. They it's a non-profit place, so they, even the doctors, they volunteer in their time there. They know, they're not, they're making no profit. Everything that you pay for is
Well,
the cost of it.
pl- Places like that, the doctors' insurances and stuff are paid through other places or their other work, and they
Mo-
volunteer their time to centers like that.
And most of the time, these doctors, they're not
And
there every day because they have their other practices
yeah,
that they do where they make their
it's
money.
hard to get the same. Like you can go 5 times and you'll get 3 different doctors.
Yeah, they
And
they swing in and out.
yeah,
So that's how it goes.
you can never go, I want this doctor.
No, it's
Yeah, and
whoever's
see, and
available.
that's why I was trying to tell you guys about my CHN healthcare. Like with them, you will get under a primary care physician. Like Anaya being a girl, she'll get a primary, OBG doctor. Like you would be able to have your same primary doctor. They have clinics all over Houston, downtown, all over Houston area. You would have your internal medicine doctor, you know what I'm saying? And she will have her own doctors. Like she still qualifies for pediatrician, you know. So it's like she'll have her own, and it's not very much, bro. Like I was reading up on their deal. I have insurance, so of course, when I go, they see me coming in with insurance. It's like 50. What is it? Like a $25 or $50 copay, because that's just what my insurance charges. For somebody like you with no insurance, you get under their network, and you'll be able to go to the dentist. You'll be able to get your medications, whatever medicines you need, for cheap, bro. Like I get my medicine. I actually use their pharmacy, and I get like all this medication for like $2. Like with my insurance, like $2, bro. So just imagine somebody that don't have insurance. Like I'm telling you, bro, you will have your own primary doctor. They're gonna send you to their network of specialists, whatever you're dealing with. Like you're gonna have, like, you should check them out, bro. And I have insurance, and this is
Yeah.
who I go to because it's like, why not? They're pretty much like a fucking Kelsey Seabold. just just on a cheaper level.
Yeah. I wanted to do this story on the freaking outrage culture with the M&Ms, and I don't know if I want to do it now because we didn't get all heavy with the insurance shit.
But yeah, man.
Cut.
Yeah, bro. I'm actually looking at, I'm dealing, going back and forth in my mind, because I may have an opportunity to get my own truck again, and I'm just kind of trying to weigh my options, and my heart is like, go for it, but then the provider side of me is kind of like, shit, man, do I give this up right now with everything that's going on, and go jump out there and take that risk, So I definitely understand, bro, because I have no help, you know. If I get out there and shit blows up in my face, we have nobody or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm the sole provider.
Yeah, man, I get it. That's the damn pressure, bro. It's like you feel like you got the world on your shoulders.
Yeah.
The thing is, that is
Sure.
not unique. That is every man.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, with
And
the healthcare stuff, that's
well, that's the thing we need to all keep in mind when we talk shit and are talking shit about all this. Is we all feel the pressures of our burdens, whatever they may be. We may make fun of other people's burdens, but at the same time, they trivialize ours.
yeah.
The
And
ultimate
and
thing being
part of the reason why I
is
do this
we all
show,
fucking suffer, and maybe if we find a way to do better, we can find a way to make there be less suffering in the world.
yeah.
Oh,
One thing that could easily be fixed is a universal health care for everybody. And it's like this is not even being talked.
No, not
Bernie
until we
Sanders kind
fix
of brought it.
this shit. Bernie Sanders is a freaking idiot. Okay, you have to understand, Chaka, you are an academic. This is why you are really big on socialism. Because socialism, communism, these are really, really great on paper. But as soon as you add human greed, corruption, things like that happen just because people are human beings, it screws it all up. It really does. And I will absolutely 100% agree with you. Socialism, communism, all that, it is one of the best systems of government and ways to work things that I have ever seen on paper. But it cannot meet it is an academic, it is an intellectual pursuit that all of this is going to go great, because it assumes that every single person is going to agree and go along with it. And that's where it fails.
Yeah.
And I would love, and like I say, man, I love the idea of it. But so we're finding mixed systems. We're trying to find ways to do it and stuff like that. But the exact same things that I'm talking about on paper, what's going on is those are the same things happening in the government and system that we're using now. The corruption, all of that. We can do better.
Yeah.
but we're not. And the thing is, everyone's talking about gig culture, quick money, all that. That is actually leading into, as you're talking about the name of this show, what about the next generation? They're going to be looking for quick cash even more than we do now.
Yep. I see it in my daughter.
I mean, it
I
don't
think
matter.
TikTok done got into her head.
And the next generation, there's nothing left for them that they have. So what is it? Their bodies and their soul. Because is
Ain't gonna
that?
lie, I kind of lost my cool. So
Oh no, I understand. TikTok is
dysfunctional
to put it
right
in,
now.
to put it in Waterboy terms. TikTok is the devil.
Yeah,
There's a
that's how I
really
feel about it.
good reason, other than the intricate licensing and tracking and all that. There's a really good reason that it should be just dumped. But
Yeah, and they were talking
also,
about banning it nationwide, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But it'll just be another app that'll take its place and do the same thing.
take a look. Facebook, Reels, YouTube, Shorts.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
already going to it, but man, at least you don't have 12-year-olds shaking their freaking hoochies like, yeah. It's like, no, I don't really want to watch TikTok anymore.
Yeah, man. Oh man, I'm probably gonna have to wrap it. Y'all got any final thoughts? I'm gonna play the game and hopefully beat some people up in the game and blow off some steam before I go to sleep.
Right.
Because I can't think straight no more.
Shouldn't have brought up that TikTok shit, dog it.
Dude, and the bad thing
Deuce
is,
loves TikTok.
how many well, it all depends, and it is even more of an algorithm thing than
Yeah, 'cause
YouTube
see,
or
my
anything like
algorithm,
that.
my algorithm on TikTok is always showing businesses, startup businesses. It's always, showing stuff, people talking about the government, the shit that's basically the shit that we talk about on here. Every
See,
now and again, I'll get a video in there where a girl's shaking her ass or something like that. But,
well, no,
if I want to see ass, I go to Twitter because that shit's all over my Twitter.
I
Yeah,
have
that's what
this
I go to
mix
Twitter
of
for
stuff
too.
between 14-year-old hoochies and these things with the nose ring that looks like you're going to knock a door or something like that with it, talking about, I am so oppressed. But, that's the algorithms that I get. And I don't know why.
Because you have to start liking, go on there and search, just search Democracy
God.
Now or some shit like that and put that in there, and then you'll notice once you like them, your algorithm will change. You'll start getting more videos that talks about, conscious shit over what the fuck you're saying now. Little girls doing dance challenges and shit like that. Bro, I don't not like when I'm watching something and little girls or little kids are doing dance challenges. I hurry up and scroll past that shit, bro.
Or worse, they got the 18-year-old chick up in front of them, and there's 2 or 3 of them, like 12 to 14 behind them, and they're all like trying to clap. It's like, What the fuck?
Yeah, that's why I don't watch TikTok. That's all that be on there whenever if I click on there. That's all that be there. And I've been on Instagram for a long time.
So what
I
exactly
think when you
is your
first get on,
algorithm? Sorry.
I'm
I'll
scrolling on.
just
Am I
try. I'm
sharing my
being funny.
Instagram?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
this is my algorithm on Instagram, and I freaking I've curated this algorithm for many years. So, that's why I can
I've had
tolerate it.
both of my Instagrams freaking hacked and taken away from me. Because I originally was, so long ago, I was at DOC on Instagram, and then I got at Yug. And both of them got freaking hacked and taken away from me. And it really freaking sucks. Because someone offered me $40,000 if I would give them at DOC. That was a really good time back in the first 10 years that this was open.
Yeah. My Instagram algorithm is like music, politics, nature stuff, art.
Okay, so do you ever see this really white, this guy that comes up? He's a conservative rapper named John McDonald. And he really is not a great rapper, but he has some really interesting, about half of his lyrics actually are like, cool, I like the way that sounds, but damn, I like none of the rest of what he does.
Nah.
I sent you
Never
little
heard
one,
of
Chuck,
him.
about the little dude in the face point that was all fake woke. That was the one that I sent you like up on your like months ago. He just keeps popping up on
think
me
I remember
because
seeing.
yeah, I mean, he's really, really right wing, and he's just a white rapper, which means he's not really that good to start with. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say stuff like that, right? Anyway, but his rapping is not that great. The beats actually are coming straight out of a generic sound program, pretty much, that I've seen and altered. But every now and then, some of the catchphrases that he uses are kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some truth, but the way he's trying to present it makes it kind of offensive to a lot of people. So they won't listen to all of it because of the things that piss them off.
Well, I want to say that, with the things that I was saying, I didn't mean to be offensive to anybody in any kind of way, I want to make sure that that's clear.
Amen. And I want to be clear to you.
And I'm not
that
judging.
We may rag on some stuff
I'm
and
not
things
judging.
like that, but we are not judging. We are not saying anything bad about you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm not, and I'm not judging anybody for their decisions in life, because we all got to make our decisions based on, what we think is best for us and our family,
When you're
And
challenged,
I'm not-
understand that we, the three of us, we're challenging you. We're not attacking you.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean to be attacking anybody or judging anybody in any ways, you know. No man can walk in another man's shoes, you know, and say he can make better decisions than him, you know.
Dude, all I gotta say is
until they can.
the shit I talk today may be different shit tomorrow, depending upon the agreement in the room.
Shit, don't get me wrong, man. I like what I do. I still love, a lot of the aspects of trucking. My true passion was always helping people. Like, I'm a people's person. I like to sit down and talk with people, and so I always had a desire to go into the medical field. You know what I'm saying? But man, I struggled so fucking hard just to make it, just to get out of school, just to graduate, bro. Like, I struggled. Like, my test scores was real low. Like, I just, yeah. Like, I academically, I fucking suck, and that's why I spend the money to put my kids through the extra, like, Kumon learning centers, and and really adamant about getting them that extra help. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have that growing up as a kid, bro. So it was like, I got to do something coming out of the system. I needed something that I could do to provide for myself and make a good living. I wasn't even thinking about providing for a wife and children. That just kind of came about. But so I chose truck driving. I remember as a kid seeing trucks. I always thought it was cool. So, but there's a lot of times where I sit back and think about myself working in the hospital, being an ER doctor, or having my own practice, being able to meet new people, talk to new people, that type of shit. I think I'd be a damn good therapist too, you know. But unfortunately, you need a license for that shit. So,
Oh, well, remember, I'm an ordained minister with a psychology background, so you don't exactly need a license completely.
well, you could be a minister and do it. That's right. Yeah.
Just not to get just you get paid less and are less likely to get sued.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically since 1994, I've been Reverend Dr. Doc.
Gotcha. Bro, it is foggy as all get out. I'm in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and this fog is sat down. God almighty.
Man, the funny thing is, you think Oklahoma, you don't think fog and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's foggy. It's foggy, and then the roads are all white. You can tell they've been out here treating the roads. They must have had some snow come through. Yeah, sorry, we're almost back into Texas. 33 miles. I'll be in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Say half an hour to get there feels like 12 because you're coming home.
Yes, sir.
See, I always notice that on the way to work, it takes me a freaking half hour to get there, 18 minutes. And on the way home, it takes me 5 minutes to get there, 18 minutes.
Yeah. Get to the house and have a drink.
Say, or 3 or 5.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm gonna cut back a little bit. I probably have like one or
Jockey,
two.
your mic is muted. Okay. I think we lost him for a minute.
Probably so. Or what? Yeah.
Am
He
I
didn't
there?
say he would. Oh,
There we
you
go. We got
Be
you back.
There you go.
careful. Yeah, be careful on your drive, Deuce. Man, be careful out there. Take care.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Definitely.
peace and love. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for listening. I'm gonna go pull me up a drink too, play the game, and hopefully wind the hell down.
I feel you, bro. Well, man, peace and love.
All
Good
All right,
talking to
man.
y'all,
Peace.
man. Y'all have a good night.
Do the same, man. Drive safe. We'll be back next week.